I got back just in time. I got back with 5 seconds. Okay, here we go. Everybody ready?
Yeah, we're ready. Welcome to the Functional Idiots broadcast, Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals between the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. I'm sure stuff was all screwed up there. Bear with us, okay? We're not ESPN. We don't have 80 people working in a semi truck doing everything for us. So my name's Colin. Joining me here is two of my friends, Andy and Dylan. Dylan
Hello,
right now is
everybody.
listening to Dylan is listening to our live stream to make sure everything's going good. Is everything going good on there, Dylan, audio wise?
Yeah, it's all good.
All right, good. So obviously, the big news out of this is that the Florida Panthers lead the Edmonton Oilers 3-0 in these finals. Which the last time there was a sweep in the Stanley Cup Finals was in 1998 between the Detroit Red Wings and the Washington Capitals, with Detroit blanking Washington 4-0. Another fact: 1995, 1996, 1997, and 1998. Those 4 years were all sweeps in the Stanley Cup Finals.
That's right.
98 was obviously Detroit over Washington. 97 was Detroit over the Philadelphia Flyers. 96 was the Colorado Avalanche over the Florida Panthers. And then in 95 was the New Jersey Devils over the Detroit Red Wings. A lot of repeats there by one team. Yeah, we were pretty dominant back then. Not so much now. We're working on it. So, but it is a well-known thing that Game 4 of, regardless of any series, but especially in the Stanley Cup Finals, is the hardest game to win. If you need to win that fourth game, especially when you're up 3-0, because now the other team has nothing to lose. Because if they lose, everybody's done. It's the last game of the year, potential last game of the year before everybody goes golfing for the summer. So Edmonton is going to be playing a different style of hockey, I would assume, considering if they lose again, it's done. It's over. And the Florida Panthers have a chance to win their first Stanley Cup in franchise history tonight. So, Andy, before we go and list off the starting lineups and all that stuff, what do you think Florida would need to do to close it out tonight and win their first Stanley Cup?
Well, I think to start off, obviously winning on the road is not an easy task to do. They certainly showed that with a 1-goal victory on Thursday, I believe it was. And if they can continue to shut down Edmonton's first line of Connor McDavid, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Zach Hyman, they can. Yeah, if they shut down that first line, they've just about got it in the bag. Sergei Bobrovsky has certainly been easily one of the biggest talks for what is it, the Conn Smythe Trophy for most valuable player in the finals or something like that, or in the playoffs or whatever it is.
I would totally agree with that. I think if he doesn't win it, unless he has that ultimate belt, it would be a crime. It would be an absolute crime if he does not win it.
It would.
Because he
kidding.
was, well, I mean, if you look at it, I argue Florida probably shouldn't have won game 1. They were outplayed the first half of that game until they finally realized, oh, maybe it's the finals, we should start playing, right? And Bobrovsky was the only reason that game was 3-0. I mean, in the first minute, Edmonton had a 3-quarter breakaway, basically, and then they had another breakaway later in the first period. And then I know there was a couple examples in the second period where it was unbelievable, the BS force field that Bobrovsky had around the net. So, I mean, that game could have easily went Edmonton's way with just a couple bounces. And same thing with game 2. It's just Bobrovsky's been playing shutdown hockey.
That's right.
So, all right, now on the flip side, what does Edmonton need to do? If they need to win 4 games straight, which would not be the first time we've had a reverse sweep in the finals. The first and only reverse sweep in the Stanley Cup Finals, I believe, was in 1941 between the Toronto Maple Leafs and those dastardly Detroit Red Wings. The Maple Leafs reverse swept the Red Wings after going down 3-0. I'm sorry, that was the 1942 Stanley Cup Finals. But yes, Detroit went up 3-0 and then promptly lost 4 in a row. So it wouldn't be the first time, but it would be the first time in what is that, 82 years if it were to happen?
Yeah.
So what does Edmonton need to do that to be the first team to win a reverse sweep in the finals in 82 years?
Yeah, no kidding. Oh my gosh, that's not another not easy task to do. I think for them, I would have to say they got to clean it up defensively. You know, looking back at game 1, I think the reason why Florida scored those goals was because they just outworked the defensemen and they got a hold of passing lanes that Florida shouldn't have because of resulting hiccups from Edmonton's defense. I think throughout this whole series, Skinner has been playing pretty consistent, so not all of it is his fault, but I think just overall as a team, Edmonton needs to clean it up defensively. I think the offense has been pretty solid for the most part with pretty fair quality chances and a little bit in front of the net. I think if for offensively and if they can keep working hard like that and get better quality chances on the offensive side of the game to get Bob Bobrovsky move it a little more and get him a little more uncomfortable, that I believe can create the momentum to set up a reverse sweep if it's going to be a potential thing to happen as it's set up right now. I think looking at what a team needs to do to perform a reverse sweep, by no means at all is it all on one person's shoulders. Here in this situation, and along with every other sport in the world, it is a quality team effort. That key word being quality. So to sum up, I guess in a sort of way, I for the most part, there is little nook and crannies in other places too, but I think the overall defense and having less hiccups for Edmonton on the defensive side of the game is the key aspect of what they need to turn this thing around. And for the offense, I would have to say it's got to be better quality chances and maybe just a little bit more net front presence in front of Bobrovsky. And for that offense, if they can get good shooting lanes and if they can get them moving from side to side with traffic in front of the net, I think that can, if they can get more of that, I think that's going to throw them off just a little bit, and I think it's going to get them towards the more uncomfortable side. But I obviously, don't get me wrong, he's been solid all series long and all playoffs long. But yeah, so it is a long shot for them, obviously being down 3-0, but there is a whole and quality team effort that would need to come out of this Oilers team if they wanted to make the reverse sweep happen.
Do you think they could do a reverse sweep?
Not a chance.
Not a chance. I agree. I think, I know I kind of skipped over Dylan, but he doesn't really know a damn thing. So,
Yeah, no.
I think Edmonton will win Game 4, just because it's Game 4. Florida, it's the hardest game to win. If you win 3 in a row, it's hard to win that 4th game because that other team, like I said, has nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. They're also playing at Edmonton. Now, Florida is a really good road team, but Edmonton has the help of the crowd behind them if they can help energize the crowd themselves. Because there's nothing more than the best thing the road team can do is score within the first couple minutes of a game and just make that crowd go dead silent. That is huge if you could do that as a road team.
It is. It really is.
So now, if you live in the Providence of Alberta, you can currently bet on the 50-50, which is at 8.5 million Canadian. What a payday that would be! Holy hell!
Wow.
That's if you live in anybody in the province of Alberta, because that's where the city of Edmonton is. They can all bet on the 50-50. And so
Yep.
Edmonton generally has some of the highest 50-50 totals in the entire league. And in fact, probably at all sporting leagues. 8.5 Canadian, which is probably about $4 American because the exchange rate is terrible right now. That would be a pretty good payday. That'd be enough for Dylan to put his jet rocket engines on the Wienermobile.
That's right.
But so because Game 3 was obviously the last time you guys broadcasted this, right?
Game 1.
Game one.
Game
Game
1.
1. So the last time I was on here, they were versing Dallas. Now, has Edmonton shown like any difference between the two? Obviously, I mean, losing 3 games is a huge deal, but like, are they playing any different, or are they like just seem not like into it, or?
They've been the problem is I think Florida's just that good of a team. I mean, they are just that good from front to back. You know, they can roll 4 lines of forwards and you got no problem. I mean, there's some teams where you roll the 4th line, it's like, oh God, we just got to get through this 45 seconds or minute before we can roll our first line. Florida, you could throw out anybody you want, defense or forward wise, and you are pretty good. And I think Florida's just done a really good job of keeping Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl in check. And with how Edmonton is set up as a team, it's a 2-player team. If you can keep them 2 in check, you're probably going to win the game, because their whole offense is kind of centered around 2 guys, which is not great.
And that's where, I mean, that's, as Andy literally just said a few minutes ago, is, you know, that quality team. Yeah, sure, you can have 2 really good players, but if the rest of your team can't do anything, then yeah, you're going to lose.
Yeah, and you got to think, during the regular season that works out all right, because teams don't have time to conform their play style to play against a different team, okay? You got 82 games in a season. You can't do that. In the playoffs, you have that time. You have that time to be like, okay, this is how this team plays. This is the kind of system they play. This is how they roll their power play. This is how they roll their penalty kill. So if we put a little tweaks here, and here, we'll be able to shut them down. You know, now the other team should be doing the same thing. They shouldn't be playing. You should not be playing the same style of hockey that you play in the regular season that you play in the postseason. The postseason is a totally different style of hockey. I mean, and same thing for Dylan, you're an NFL guy. If teams play the same way they do in the regular season and the postseason, they're going to get walloped. You're not going to make it you're not going to make it to the Super Bowl. You got to play a different style of insert sport here. You know, if it's baseball, hockey, football, soccer, basketball, you got to play a different style. And I don't think it just doesn't show like Edmonton's kind of played that different style. And if they
they don't really have like play depth.
Yeah, they don't have the depth. I mean, they can roll 4 lines and it's okay, but not like how they can roll 4 lines with Florida. I mean, Florida is just you know, they're an S-tier team right now. And they were the second half of last year. And they've carried that rate into this year. So, well, I guess, prediction-wise, what would you expect to see tonight, Andy? Unless Andy's gone.
Shoot.
Oh, he's still there. Okay.
I think I'm debating between a couple different things. I can't decide if this game is going to be whoever scores the first goal is going to go on to win the game with getting the factor of the crowd in or out of it, or if it's going to be back and forth, pass the lead, back and forth, because Edmonton's got nothing to lose. You know, I have no clue. I got no clue.
Yeah, I see. We're gonna see a lot of high risk, high reward moves out of Edmonton. At least I would assume that. If I don't, you might as well just give the Stanley Cup to Florida now, because if you don't change anything, you're not going to beat Florida. I mean, it showed in the first 3 games. I could see Florida maybe playing a little conservatively, just because you don't want to go down 2-0 or 3-0 right away.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, that's hard. Now, arguably, the worst lead in hockey is a 3-goal lead. However, you don't want to go down 3-0 or 2-0, 2-0, 3-0 in the first 5 minutes, because Edmonton's gonna have all the momentum. They're gonna have the crowd behind them. The place is gonna be absolutely rocking.
Yep.
And so I think Florida, if you could pounce on the chances you get, pun intended.
That's right.
And make the best of them, but don't make the high risk chances, because you don't want to give up that goal.
Yeah.
So if we're going by that, what do you think? Do you think Florida or Edmonton wins this game? And by what?
Yeah, I can kind of see the Florida doing the conservative thing. I think I'm gonna go with Edmonton on this one. I think with that kind of conservative-ish play, I think Edmonton's gonna go ahead and win this one by a score of, I'm gonna go with 3-1. They'll have a 2-1 lead in the third period, but then the third goal will be an empty netter from whoever. It don't matter. I think Edmonton finally gets one by a score of 3-1.
Okay. Well, ESPN just showed a great stat of why Florida's been so good. In round one, the Panthers played the
Tampa
Bay Lightning. Just brain fart, okay? Now, who is the top scorer on the Tampa Bay Lightning, Andy?
Is it Nikita Kucherov?
Nikita Kucherov. Connor McDavid was the first player in God knows how many years to get 100 assists in the one season, and then about 2 days later, Kucherov did the same thing. Kucherov was held to 0 goals in the series against Florida, not one. Second round, Florida played Boston. Top 2 scorers on Boston are Pastrnak and Marchand. Between the two of them, 1 goal. Now we move to the New York Rangers. Who's the top scorers? Kreider, Zibanejad, Panarin. Between the 3 of them, 2 goals. Now we move on to here, and we have McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman. Between them, not Hyman, Draisaitl and McDavid. Between the 2 of them, 0 goals so far. So if you want to see how well Florida's been playing, been able to shut it down, that shows it right there. You're keeping the top scorers out of the game, basically. I'm going to go with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead.
You want to talk about quality lockdown defense, that's what it looks like. And we've all heard the saying for doesn't matter what sport, because defense wins championships. When you get that quality of consistency, it speaks for itself as a team and shows how far you can go and how deep you can go into the playoffs.
100%. 100%. Now, I agree with you that Edmonton is going to win this game. I think it's going to be 2-1. I think it's still going to be, both goalies have been playing pretty good. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I would be shocked if any of these games, we haven't seen it, turns into what I like to say is a quote-unquote barn burner, which is a barn burner in hockey is 10 combined goals between both teams. 10 or more goals. And that's a certified barn burner. A barn burner of a period is 5 goals or more combined in one period as a barn burner of a period. I don't think we're going to see that in these finals. I'd be absolutely stunned.
Not with these 2 goaltenders. No way.
No, especially with Bobrovsky. That would be an unbelievable change of events if that happened. If that were to happen. Yeah. A barn burner of a game. I just don't see that happening. I think the only way Edmonton is going to win, though, is they got to score more goals 5-on-5. Because they've been getting a majority of their goals on the power play, and when Florida's rolling with a 90.2% power play, it's hard to score a lot of goals against that. Okay.
Penalty kill. Yeah.
Penalty kill. I'm sorry. I knew what I said. You knew what I meant.
Right.
Damn it. Do what I mean, not what I say. All right, Andy. Who do you got for your starting lineups for tonight?
Rolling first I usually have the Florida Panthers first. As far as we know, ever since we last did our live stream in Game 1, I believe there has been 0 changes.
There has been, there's been, to my knowledge, 0 lineup changes and 0 line changes amongst the players.
Because, with this team, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you've won 3 games in a row.
Yeah, that's the motto.
Why change anything?
Yeah.
So, and with that lineup, we have, starting with the forwards, as always, on the left side is number 17, Evan Rodriguez. On the right side is number 13, Sam Reinhart. And rounding it out in the middle is the captain, number 16, Alexander Barkov. Moving to the second line on the left side is number 23, Carter Verhaeghe. On the right side, number 19, Matthew Tkachuk. And rounding it out in the middle is number 9, Sam Bennett. Moving to the third line, we have number 27 on the left side, Eetu Luostarinen. On the right side, we have number 10, Vladimir Tarasenko. And in the middle, to round that out, is number 15, Anton Lundell.
I think
rounding out, or say that again.
I was to say, I think Dylan is gonna have a stroke when he looks at Luostarinen there.
How do
you say this?
Yeah, he's got a lot to learn. There's so many players from overseas in this sport. It's ridiculous.
Welcome to the National Hockey League. Here's somebody with Q's and Z's in their name. Figured out how to say it. Yep. V's, W's, all that jazz. Oh yeah.
Shoot. For the fourth line, on the left side is number 18, Steven Lorentz. On the right side, number 8, Kyle Okposo. And rounding it out in the middle is number 82, Kevin Stenlund.
Yes. Before you move on to the defensemen, the top scorers for Florida so far have been Alexander Barkov. All the forwards have played 20 games for the most part. Barkov is 7 goals, 14 assists for 21 points, over a point a game. Lundell is 3, 12, and 15. Sam Reinhart is 9, 6, and 15. Tkachuk is 5, 15, and 20. And Verhaeghe is 10, 8, and 18. So a lot of guys putting a lot of points on the board.
No kidding. I mean, the depth of this offense is just nuts.
Yeah. All right, moving on to defensemen for the Florida Panthers.
For the first pairing on the left side, leading off is number 42, Gustav Forsling. And on the right side, assistant captain, number 5, Aaron Ekblad. For the second pairing on the left side is number 77, Nico Mikkola. On the right side, Mikkola, that's it. Number 62, former Mighty Duck of Anaheim, Brandon Montour. On the bottom pairing for the left side, number 91, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And on the right side, number 7, Dmitry Kulikov. Backup goaltender for tonight, number 41, Anthony Stolars. And starting in net, it is none other than Conn Smith talk himself, number 72, Sergei Bobrovsky. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Moving on now to Sergei Bobrovsky.
Bobrovsky with a 2.07 goals against average and a .916 save percentage. You can't ask much more out of a goaltender in the playoffs than that. I mean, you can, but it won't do you any good.
Yeah, because that's about as high quality performance as you're going to get right there.
Yeah.
So, now, moving on to the top line of forwards for the Edmonton Oilers. The big line, on the left side, number 93 is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. On the right side is number 18, Zach Hyman. And rounding it out in the middle, both captains for this team are first-line centermen. Number 97 for the Oilers, it is none other than Connor McDavid himself. To the second line, left side, number 37, Warren Fogle. On the right side, number 90, Corey Perry. And rounding that line out in the middle is number 29, the German boy, Leon Draisaitl. To the third line we go on the left side, number 13, former Dallas Star, Matthias Janmark. On the right side, number 28, Connor Brown. And rounding it out in the middle, number 19, Adam Henrique. Moving to the bottom, fourth line of the forwards. On the left side is number 55, Dylan Holloway. On the right side is number 10, Derek Ryan. And rounding it out in the middle is number 71, Ryan McLeod. Moving to the defensive pairings for the Oilers. On the left side is number 14, Matthias Ekholm. On the right side, number 2, Evan Bouchard. For the second defensive pairing, on the left side, number 25, Darnell Nurse. And on the right side, number 86, Philip Broberg. To the bottom pairing of the defensemen for the Oilers, On the left side, number 27, Brett Kulak. And on the right side, number 5, Cody Ceci. In net tonight is number 74, Stuart Skinner. And backing him up, number 30, former Grand Rapids Griffin, Calvin Pickard. Injury tonight, Evander Kane, number 91. Crucial part of this Edmonton Oiler lineup is out. So I believe at fourth line right wing, they called up, I believe, Derek Ryan, right number 10.
Yep.
Is that right? Or is
I
that
believe
wrong?
Believe so.
Derek Ryan. Yep. Okay. I recognize that name. Oh, that sounded familiar because I was pretty sure that Evander Kane was he on the fourth line or the third line? I think the fourth line.
Probably third line.
I think so because wasn't Connor Brown on the fourth line? Because that seems a little.
Could have been. I mean, Edmonton's also probably been jockeying lineups around, so that wouldn't be a huge shock.
Right.
So now,
they put Corey Perry on the second line with Draisaitl and Fogle. That's funny.
Yeah, that wouldn't work. So just to compare, the highest scorers for Edmonton are your usual suspects: Zach Hyman, Leon Draisaitl, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Connor McDavid. Okay, and Evan Bouchard on the back end's been doing really good points-wise for him. Okay, now if you just want to compare guys who have double-digit points or more in these playoffs between the two teams, 7 forwards for Florida and 2 defensemen for a total of 9 players have double-digit points. Edmonton is only 4 forwards and 1 defenseman. So Florida's nearly double points-wise. Point production-wise out of their guys between double digits. So, I mean, that's pretty big right there. Again, it comes down to is when you only got 2 guys that can do anything for you, it's pretty easy to shut that team down. Not all that hard. So, starting lineup-wise, according to the NHL website, assuming it's right, for Florida, left winger Alexander Barkov, centerman is Sam Reinhart, right wing is Evan Rodriguez, back end is going to be Mikkola and Montour, obviously Bobrovsky in net. For Edmonton, they're actually not starting the big dogs out there because we got Connor Brown being centered by Adam Henrique, and then on his left would be Matthias Janmark. Behind him is the other Matthias, but this one is Ekholm, Evan Bouchard, and obviously Stuart Skinner between the pipes. So Edmonton not starting out with their big dogs, as it were seem, unless the NHL website's lying to me, which is entirely possible. So
going with the third line to start. Fascinating.
Got to start with something different. So, all right, Dylan, before this starts, who do you think who wins this game and by what score?
Florida Panthers, 3-4.
Ooh, 4-3. So, Dylan believes in the sweep. Dylan believes in the sweep.
With back-to-back same score. Wow, that is sketchy.
Okay. I think it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. Edmonton will win this game, but Florida will close it out in Game 5 on, I believe, Monday. No, it'll be Tuesday night because there's 2 days off.
That's right. So,
alrighty,
ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
Game 4.
Puck drop is seconds away.
Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals in Alberta or Canada is underway.
Here we go.
Florida wins the face-off and just dumps it into the zone. Again, I say earlier that the only way Edmonton is going to beat Florida, they got to score 5-on-5, as that icing is negated there. They didn't make it down, and again, here comes a big shot by Ekholm there, and Bobrovsky sees it all the way. But that's the kind of things right there that Edmonton needs to do. You need to do that kind of stuff. You can't just rely on the power play. And the the third line here, creating at least a little bit of offense, as I would assume that's going to be a shot on goal.
I already got it marked on the scoreboard. Yeah,
yes.
Should be.
So, speaking of scoreboard, again, the thanks goes to Andy. He's going to be running the board tonight, so if you got any issues, don't talk to me.
That's right.
It's not my problem. I'm not the one running it. Well, like the last game we did it, the website we use, which is a really good website, we both had it open. Well, when 2 of us have it open, it kind of like spazzes out and it doesn't know what to do. And so I looked over one time and I was like, why does Florida still have a power play? That ended like 3 minutes ago. I'm like, Andy, are you screwing this up? He's like, no, it's like, I'm like, oh, it's because I got it open. Never mind. That one was my bad. My bad, fam. But yeah, if you want professionalism, you don't listen to this. Yeah.
That's right.
Or watch this as
Get out of here.
yeah, if you want that,
Stay around.
you're in the wrong friggin' place, my guy. As we get a little bit of hockey jockeying here in the neutral zone, as Florida's able to get it out courtesy of Gustav Forsling. He's going to dump it in, wrap around the boards, and it's picked up by Ekblad. He misses it. Actually got hot potato going on here. Tkachuk picks it up behind the Edmonton net. And that's a shot by Bennett. I think that Skinner just got a piece of that as Verhaeghe's got it now. Over to Bennett, up to Forsling at the point. He rips a shot. That's tipped in front, but didn't really have much of a tip on the way as the fans are looking for a penalty. That's not going to happen. Oh, Bennett across the net to Tkachuk, and he just took a high stick to the face, though, on the way out. But I don't know why he didn't rip that. I think he was kind of bouncing on him, and so he couldn't get it settled down. Because Tkachuk had a wide open net as Draisaitl got upended in the corner, and Verhaeghe was able to get it out. He's got it now. He's got some help here with Tarasenko with him, and there's a penalty coming to Edmonton, I believe. A delayed call as Mikkola has it at the point. Over to Tarasenko, shot and saved by Skinner. Montour with it now. Looking for some help, and we got our first stoppage of the play and first penalty of the game against the Edmonton Oilers.
Did anybody see that dude get absolutely creamed?
Draisaitl in the corner.
No, not in the corner, right in the neutral zone. Dude, they spun that guy. Holy crap!
Oh, I didn't.
Oh yeah, I
saw.
I saw that Panthers player get hit.
Oh well, yep. Obviously, because it was a penalty. As I think they're gonna probably get him for kneeing. If I had to guess, which would be the second time in these finals that an Edmonton Oiler has been called for kneeing. And I would assume they're going to call it a 5-minute major, and they have. So for you, Dylan, the NHL has it where if you call a penalty a 5-minute major, the referees have the chance to review it and then either keep it as a 5-minute major, make it a match penalty, which is a 5-minute power play, and that player is kicked out, or they could knock it down to just a 2-minute minor. I could see, you know what? I could see either way because he kind of stuck his leg out there. You know what? He kind of led with his leg, knee to knee. I don't know if they'll call a match penalty on this. I think they'll probably just leave it as a 5-minute major. Because he didn't really go for the body at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It looked like Sam Bennett got hurt a little bit. I don't know why this whole time I've been thinking, just the way Darnell Nurse made that contact, could that... Oh, it's a 2-minute. Okay,
they gave him a 2-minute.
Could, with his actions, could that also be classified as slew footing? Or is that wrong?
No, that's not slew footing. That'd be called... I think they actually called it for tripping.
Okay.
Yeah, they actually called it as tripping. I would have called it kneeing, but hey, whatever. No, that wouldn't be slew footing. Slew footing is like when you're up against the boards and you kind of just, pull a guy's leg out from underneath him.
Oh, okay.
You could either call that tripping or clipping. They called that tripping. I argue that's
Tripping.
kneeing, but hey, whatever. You don't want to throw a guy out less than 2 minutes into a freaking game, especially with this much on the line. But as Florida's going to try and get their power play set up, and there's a shot by Verhaeghe, but Skinner saw that all the way with no traffic in front of him. Good glove save there as Barkov centered it out in front for him. So Florida's power play has been okay. I wouldn't say it's been fantastic this series. Neither team's power play has been great. But, you can't, when both their penalty kills are at 90+%, that's bound to happen. That's bound to happen, lackluster power plays. So as Edmonton is able to get it out of the zone and Florida tried to pass it back to the D. I believe that was Reinhart over to Montour, except that missed by about 6 city blocks. As Montour skates it out for it now for Florida. Back passes it to Reinhart up to Barkov. To Verhaeghe. Into the corner for Barkov. Verhaeghe with it now out front center to Tkachuk. He takes a shot. Oh, off the crossbar. Oh, off the post for Reinhart. Oh, Verhaeghe throws one at the goal. Oh, my God. From, the top of the circles, Tkachuk had, a lazy shot that just went off the crossbar, popped right in front for Reinhart, and he banked it off the post. So 2 iron shots for Florida on this power play as Edmonton comes up 2-on-1 on a penalty kill with Connor Brown. He's holding on to it, trying to outpace it, and there we go. Penalty kill, shorthanded, goal. Matthias Janmark on the board. What a change of events.
Smokes.
2 post shots for Florida, and then Edmonton gets it and goes down in shorthanded goal in the net. This is what Edmonton needed. If they want to win this game, this is exactly what Edmonton needed to do. So here we go. I think we might. Nope, we didn't get it here, but that was a good chip shot by Connor Brown to get it out of the zone. And he just outweighted Bobrovsky, put it out front, and then Janmark actually banked it off of. Couldn't see who was sliding in there. It might have been Barkov. Yeah, it actually went off of Barkov and then in the net. So
ran into Bobrovsky by accident.
Yeah, but once again, that's also what Edmonton needed, was not one of those 4 guys being of Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, Draisaitl, or McDavid, putting it in the net. You need some help from other guys, and they got it right there. Shorthanded goal. Matthias Janmark from Connor Brown, as Florida's now got 17 seconds left on this power play, as Lundell has it for the second unit here. And Edmonton not quite able to bank it out, as Tarasenko has it now, trying to dance his way around. And he loses it here. And here comes another chance for Warren Foegele. He tried to pass it off and just couldn't quite get it there in time. Tried to get it to Ryan McLeod. As who else but Connor McJesus has it now. And he's going to start from almost behind his own goal line. He's going to get it wound up. Skate right into the Florida zone. Tried to skate through about 7 guys. That didn't work. Although if anyone could make it happen, it could. We got a stoppage of play here. I think we got a too many men penalty here for Florida.
One thing I've noticed is that Florida's kind of pretty fast.
Yeah. This good depth quality team is very much capable of keeping up with this Edmonton offense.
Yeah, they are quick.
Yeah, but obviously too quick, because that's pretty obvious there. That's not even close.
Yeah, that's a too many men penalty.
That's not even close. So
how to turn tables here, boys.
Yes, they have. As now Edmonton is going to go to their first power play. A power play that's been in the mid to high 30s this postseason, except against Florida. It has not been very good. So let's see if they can get a power play goal and go up 2-0 here, as Bouchard has it at the point. Over to Nugent Hopkins. To McDavid, back to Nugent Hopkins. Trying to take a shot at it, and it was poked away by Ekblad, but McDavid's got it now. Dishes it off to Bouchard, who gives it right back to McDavid. Over to Bouchard for a one-timer, and that's blocked by, I think, Lusterine in there. Good block by him. Nugent Hopkins got it up to Bouchard, who's looking for options. Over to McDavid. McDavid with it now, fending off Stenlund. He drops it off to Bouchard, who gives it to Draisaitl, back to McDavid, and it was just a little bit behind him, and so good free breakout for Florida there, as Stenlund is able to get it away from McDavid, and Nugent Hopkins picks it up as Florida does a wholesale line change. Bouchard tried to launch it into the zone, and it went off a Florida defenseman, and a free icing for Florida here, as Bouchard picks it up, gets it up to Draisaitl, who has a set of wheels himself, but he's going to dish it off to McDavid, fastest player in the league. To Nugent Hopkins, back to Bouchard. Bouchard walking in, shot and blocked away, as Barkov tried to get there in time over Nugent Hopkins. He would have had a quasi breakaway there. As Nugent Hopkins has it now, gives it to Draisaitl, to McDavid, over to Hyman. That one's blocked on the way through. Draisaitl with it now, up to Bouchard. Bouchard examining, over to Draisaitl. Back to Bouchard, to Nugent Hopkins. Back to Bouchard. Draisaitl playing on the opposite side he normally is when he's on the power play. Down to McDavid. McDavid looking. Still looking. Down to Draisaitl in his normal office, but Bobrovsky sniffed that one out. Draisaitl again saved by Bobrovsky. And Bobrovsky's able to... we got a stoppage here. I think he had it and it was poked away. So Bobrovsky is able to sniff out the extra little movement there of Draisaitl, moving from the far side of the ice to the near side on the goal line, which is usually where he gets all his power play goals. And then it went off of the backboards to Draisaitl, and he tried to put it out in front. And he passed it right to himself as it was blocked. He launched it again, and as Bobrovsky was trying to pick up his stick, he was able to stop it. So I'd say that was even though Edmonton didn't score on this power play, and they're probably not going to with only 12 seconds left, I'd say it was a pretty good power play. They had quite a few good quality chances on this power play. As Broberg launches it at the point, and that one's blocked into the corner. That one's kept in at the line. As Perry launches it in front, but no one there for Edmonton. As that put in by Nurse, and that one's, I think, Bobrovsky got a piece of that. As Barkov skates it out, as the Panthers have successfully killed off that penalty, he launches it in front. Nobody home there to bang in the rebound. As Forsling keeps it in for Florida, as Warren Fogle picks it up for Edmonton. Breaks it out to Corey Perry. Ekblad now has it for Florida. Over to Verhaeghe. Gives it back to Ekblad as we get a little bit of line changing going on for both teams as Gustav Forsling skates it up. Not quite over the red line, so let's see if they call icing. They do. They do. That's a lazy play there by Forsling. He could have skated 2 more feet, and he would have been over the red line.
Exactly.
That's just a lazy play.
I saw that coming the whole way with his body language.
So yeah,
like, wait, hold on, don't launch it yet.
Yeah, so there's the crossbar in the post by Tkachuk and Reinhart.
Wow.
And then immediately coming the other way, Connor Brown just outweights Bobrovsky and then passes it out in front for Janmark, and he's able to bang it home. As we are not going to go out to TV timeout, obviously, because it was icing. But Florida is able to get it out now as Verhaeghe has it. But Florida's going for a wholesale line change, so he's got 0 help. But he's doing a pretty good job fending it off. In fact, so good that Florida still has it now with fresh guys on the ice. Out to the point, launch, but that one's tipped away. Ekman-Larsson pinches in, tries to keep it in, but Bouchard comes away with it. Over to Ekholm. Stretch pass, but not there in time for Holloway, as it was a little bit too far in front of him, so it's an icing against Edmonton. Edmonton is definitely coming at it a lot more than they have in the last couple games.
I mean, of course, I haven't been here like the entire, of course, the entirety of the games. But yeah, it seems like Edmonton is like really putting the gas on. Yeah,
and that's what you need to do. Florida is a very good team. They're able to get 1-goal leads and hold them. So you need to you just need to just go at him and keep going at him. That's the best way. And I mean, arguably this the shorthanded goal for Edmonton was not 5-on-5, but it also wasn't on the power play. And that's what's kind of been killing Edmonton is they haven't been getting very many 5-on-5 or even strength goals. So especially having a shorthanded goal in Game 4 at home in the first little over 3 minutes into the game, that's huge. That's absolutely massive for Edmonton. As they're able to get it out, Ekholm able to pass it up. Here goes in. Edmonton launches out in front. Oh, off the goal. I think that's Adam Henrique. As Edmonton now 2-0 on the board. That's just a lazy pass by, I believe, Janmark out in front, and it just perfect for Henrique. Top corner, in and out faster than you could blink. 2-0 Edmonton.
It seems a lot like Florida's kind of tripping over themselves.
Yeah,
throughout this first period. I'm not gonna lie.
I think the closing out of a series and winning the Stanley Cup is kind of getting to Florida right now. Yeah, it's just a hard-working goal by Janmark. He skates it in, holds it, and just passes it out front. And I mean, there wasn't really much there. I don't even think he knew Henrique was there. He just kind of threw it out in front, and son of a bitch, Henrique was there, and perfect tip, just top corner.
Ooh, holy crap, that was nice.
Poor Bobrovsky.
He got his stick right in front of Anton Lundell at the last second.
Yeah, I'd say neither goal so far are Bobrovsky's faults. Neither one.
Yeah.
I mean, that one you have no chance. In that first one, he was just out freaking weighted, and then his own defenseman kind of took him out of the play. So, But for Edmonton, that was an even strength goal, which is the kind of stuff they need. And it was from not one of their big guns, as Florida's now pressing real hard here, as they're kind of being embarrassed as Ekman-Larsson takes a shot that's blocked. Over to Rodriguez. That's saved by Skinner. As Ceci tries to knock it away. Rodriguez has with it now. He skates it out in front by himself and just kind of got jammed up there. Never got a shot away. As Nugent Hopkins comes away with it.
I think a big issue that Florida may face is that, if they're playing conservative, they'll get too aggressive and then shoot themselves in the foot practically.
As that shot from Perry comes from the side of the circle, and Bobrovsky stopped it. Didn't know he had it. There as we get a little pushing and shoving there between Ekman-Larsson and Corey Perry. But yes, I agree with you, Dylan, is that I think this conservative mindset for Florida might bite him in the butt because now you're down. This is the exact thing I said they do not want to happen. Is going down 2 or 3-0 in the first 10 minutes of the game, and they're down 2-0 with one of them being a shorthanded goal.
Yep. And 11:21 to play.
Yeah, and like I said, we're not even halfway through the first period.
Yikes.
So,
Rocky start.
Yeah.
Rocky.
Like I said, I think just the Stanley Cup jitters are getting to him right now.
Yep.
Although I think if for sure if Florida somehow just gets a clear head, then they'll pull it. They will pull it.
I think now. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think my 3-4 prediction could still happen. I think it's going to be 3-3, and then they're going to go to overtime.
Yeah. Well, I think my 2-1 prediction is kind of shot away right now because it's already 2-0 Edmonton. Just not even 9 minutes in. So unless Edmonton decides to put the kibosh on scoring, yeah, I don't think. I think my prediction is out the freaking window.
I think Dylan and I's are still on the table.
Yeah,
barely.
I'd say Dylan's is on the table because I think right now this is a good TV timeout for Florida to reset. Catch your breath, slow everything down, start over.
Listen, don't get too aggressive. We're being too conservative, but don't get too aggressive.
Yeah, we need.
If you get too aggressive, you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah, we need to clean it up because we're playing a little sloppy right now. We need to clean it up a little bit. So to go back, Janmark's was his 3rd goal of the playoffs. Connor Brown with his 4th assist, and Adam Henrique with his 3rd goal of the playoffs. Matthias Janmark, who has a point on both goals now, he assisted for his 3rd assist, and Matthias Ekholm got his 4th assist of this postseason. So, but right there, you don't have the 4 big guns contributing there for Edmonton, which might sound backwards, but that's exactly what Edmonton needed. They need guys besides them 4 to be producing for them. And they are in a big way. As Edmonton has control with it, McLeod takes a shot at the shot, and it kind of went off of, I think, Derek Ryan's skate there. As it's able to be held in there at the line for Edmonton. Up to Derek Ryan. He takes a shot. It's blocked away off of the skate of Ekblad. Darnell Nurth with a shot from the point. Once again, that was blocked, never made it to the net as Verhaeghe's able to get it out for Florida. And Ekblad dumps it into the zone. As Broberg is able to shovel it around Tkachuk. He's able to get it out. And that's lobbed out by Edmonton as they're going to change along with a lot of Florida. And that's passed up to Verhaeghe, who was left all alone, except he had to wait for the puck to catch up to him or he would have been offsides. As Reinhart gives it off to Kulak. And now Ekman Larson with it now. Skates it back into his own zone. He gets crunched into the boards there. As Kulak comes away with it now. So a defenseman joining the rush. Shot in there looking for a rebound. That's picked up by McDavid. And he comes away with speed over the blue line into the Florida zone. And that shot was blocked. Now it's picked up by Rodriguez over to Barkov. Gives it up to Reinhart. And then to Montour. Montour with a shot and a good little right pad save by Skinner there. As Ekholm comes away with it. And that is going to be an icing, I believe. He was looking for Hyman, and it was just a little bit ahead of him. So an icing here against Edmonton. So they're not going to be allowed to change.
Man, I got to say, they are more so Edmonton now, but they're both now holding their own to where it's not just like, oh, dump and pass, whatever. It's like, all right, we'll get to the neutral zone, dump it, and then try and get it out of there,
Yeah. As that's going to be lobbed out by Edmonton, and I think that's not going to be icing as Ekblad got to it before it crossed the goal line. So Edmonton is going to get some fresh guys on the ice. As Ekblad's also waiting for Florida to do a half line change as well. As he passes it up. That's dumped in by Florida. Looks like this is going to be icing against Florida as Lawrence was on the wrong side of the red line to dump it in by. So I think this is like the 4th or 5th icing of the game already. We're not even 11 minutes in.
They're getting excited.
Now Dylan jinxed him. Now instead of actually taking it in, now they're trying to do too much here.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think Florida's definitely flustered a little bit, being down 2-0 in the first, just under 8 minutes, first 7:48. As it looks like Draisaitl's going to get kicked out of the faceoff. McDavid's going to come in.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
And that is won by Steenland for Florida. Florida. Jeez. I swear I haven't been drinking, officer. As McDavid comes in with it to Nugent Hopkins, who drops it off for Ceci. Gives it to Draisaitl. Back to Ceci at the point. He takes a shot, but that's blocked by, I believe, Luostarinen. As Draisaitl has it now in his own zone. Gives it to Ceci on a very dangerous pass. In fact, I would argue it didn't work as Luostarinen has it now. Is over to Lundell. Lundell up to Forsling at the point, who takes a shot, and that's tipped by Vladimir Tarasenko, and in the net. Florida on the board. A beautiful tip by Tarasenko in front of Skinner.
Wow, what a play.
What? Holy crap.
On a shot from Gustav Forsling at the point. And it was a perfect tip by Tarasenko. I mean, beautiful tip. Here's a shot. Oh, that is a beauty tip.
Wow.
As I've heard in a movie once, that's a beaut, Clark.
Just underneath the glove of Skinner, it bounced off the ice, under his glove, over his left pad and in. Off the post.
Right off the post. Oh, my God.
You want to talk about a dinger.
Now,
That's what it looks like right there.
Yeah, they didn't give the assist to Lundell. I think they might eventually, because he did shovel it to Forsling at the point. But I would say that all started from a dangerous pass by Leon Draisaitl in his own zone to Ceci. It initially worked, but Ceci wasn't expecting it, and so it shocked him, right? And I mean, it was a pass on the tape, except then Edmonton turned it over, and then about 15, 20 seconds later, they're digging it out of their own net. As that shot from the point for Edmonton is blocked on the way in. It's out of the zone as Sam Bennett picks it up. He's got help with Verhaeghe. Over to Verhaeghe, a shot. Oh, big save by Stuart Skinner.
Oh my gosh. Now would be a good time to call the cop. Wow, have you ever? Oh my gosh, this crowd is still going nuts.
Wow.
Holy jumping.
Beautiful sauce pass. Oh, it's just beautiful stuff by Stuart Skinner. He just lays out, pushing off, and just got it with the glove.
You want to talk about cross-crease perfection. Man. That's about what it looks like right there, gentlemen. Oh my gosh. Dude, they keep up this quality of play all night long. Oh, we're going to have ourselves a night.
Yes, we are. Wow. Now, they keep going like this. Man. I'll be sitting here going overtime.
Wow. This is nuts.
Great plays made by both teams so far.
Oh, yeah.
The last half of this period.
Jeez.
Like, dang.
I would say...
Got a nice goal and then a nice save. Wow.
Beauty save right there. Not quite as good as Bobrovsky's against, I believe, Tampa, but it still checks out.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding.
I'd say if they... Go ahead.
If they keep up this quality of play, I think my 3-1 prediction of Edmonton is off the table, and I think Dylan's 4-3 Florida wins it is the only thing left on the table.
Well, I think my 2-1 prediction, I'm going to shit can that because I don't see this.
Well, we already made it.
We've already made it. We're only a little over 12 minutes in, so... Yeah, I don't think that's going to hold up for the next 48 minutes of the game.
All right, what is your new prediction then?
I'm going to overestimate it. 14-13 is my final score.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
I'm going for football quality here. You know, it's going to be a scoregami for the NHL. No.
Yeah. Shoot, we're talking baseball numbers here.
Yeah. Yeah, they're playing like right now like it's the bottom of the ninth. Both teams are. It's great. Love it. I mean, arguably for Edmonton, it is the bottom of the ninth.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, yeah. Wow. Anyway, we're getting forward back to a face-off here. It looks like it's going to be to the left side of Stuart Skinner.
Yes, on his left, far side of the TV cameras.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, Verhaeghe got absolutely robbed. You were right, Andy. We got to call call the entire precinct because that was highway robbery. As Barkov has it for Florida. It launches it in front to, I think that was Rodriguez there. And off his skate, he wasn't able to get a shot away on it. As Rodriguez picks it up now, not quite able to do anything with it, as Edmonton's able to ice it. And by ice it, I mean actually ice it. So once again, the face-off is most likely, well, we don't know because Florida gets to choose what side they want it on, which I don't agree with that rule change, but hey, I don't run the league. So that's actually a good save there by Skinner. Went off of Rodriguez's skate, and it just hit the left toe of Skinner there. And then Rodriguez wasn't quite able to do anything on the rebound. As Bennett's able to win it for Florida, as Tkachuk has it, he throws it in front, and Skinner's able to baseball glove that one out of the air. So I think for Florida, the best thing to happen to them was that first TV timeout, because after that you could definitely tell they've settled down.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how many F-bombs Paul Maurice dropped during that TV timeout, but it's obviously worked because they've settled in a little bit better here. Now they're not playing.
What the F are you guys effing doing out there?
Yeah. And Maurice is known to be a little trigger happy on the F-bombs. So
that's right.
I think Florida, they've settled down. I think they've gotten the jitters out. Unfortunately, they dug themselves a hole. But with that goal, courtesy of Tarasenko and Forsling, they're able to cut that lead in half, Edmonton's lead at least. As Derek Ryan has it for Edmonton, he throws it down, and unable to hold it was McLeod, but he has it now. Gives it off to Broberg, who skates it low behind the Florida net. He still has it. Looking like McDavid out here. He throws it out in front, and that's just tipped away. I don't know who quite got it, but McLeod there was sitting in the low slot, wide open, ready to bake a cake and eat it. He would have had a ton of time. But it was just tipped away as Edmonton commits the 70,000th icing of the period.
That's right.
Looking like Kiwi hockey out here for the amount of icings we've had so far. Good Lord.
Yeah, the Squirt League.
Yeah, Jesus. 6:49 left in the first period. And if we keep going at this rate, it's going to be a final score of about 8-5 Edmonton, but we'll see how this keeps going. As Lundell's able to ice the puck. Yeah. As Lundell is able to win that for Florida. As Lusterina throws it out in front, and Stuart Skinner was able to keep that one in check before Lundell was able to rifle a shot or a potential shot. I didn't initially like that play by Forsling to just throw it down, but Lusterinen just outworked Broberg there. He's able to get it away and threw it out in front, and McDavid able to stop the pass off, so Lundell didn't really get much more than like a puff of a shot there.
And then Stuart Skinner just laid on it for kind of a hiccup broken play to freeze for a whistle and
basically start over as everything's the same, but McDavid gets kicked out of the circle for this one.
Jumping the gun.
Yep. Lundell still in there for Florida. And I wouldn't really know. I think I'd give that one to Edmonton on the face-off win, as Fogel's got it now, rather. He tried to get around Ekblad and wasn't quite able to do that. As Forsling got it up to Lusterinen, who gives it over to Vlad Tarasenko. Tarasenko trying to dance around Ekholm, but he was on top of that. No chance. Toe drag didn't work. As Lundell getting a little feisty in front of the net, so naturally ESPN cuts away from that camera shot.
Yep, pushing and shoving.
Lundell was getting a little feisty with Bouchard there. Got to be a little careful. You don't want to take a penalty right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
So it was but Tarasenko on the chance coming into the zone, he tried to toe drag it around Ekholm, except Ekholm's been around the block more than a couple times. That's going to be hard to do that with Ekholm.
It is.
As Edmonton player there, he has a little bit of a tail as his jersey's starting to come apart. Yeah, they just told him. I think. I don't know who it was, but he had a little bit of a tail there. Might be McDavid. They give that face-off win to Mr. Leon Draisaitl for Edmonton, as Ekman Larsson was able to knock it down at the red line, and then Florida was able to get it into the zone, and not quite able to keep it in was Florida on the other side. That was Kulikov, but he's got it now down for Sam Reinhart. Reinhart looking, he takes a shot, and that one's blocked into the corner. Edmonton's able to get it out and once again ice it for the 11th time of this period. Come on, boys. Are you guys NHL or OHL teams here? Let's stop icing the puck so frickin' much.
Yeah.
My God. Getting ridiculous.
Is this the Stanley Cup or the Memorial Cup here?
Yes. So pretty good, but if you take away the 60,000 icings we've had, not bad quality. I'd say pretty good quality of play. If you take out the first 5-6 minutes of Florida's game, 7 minutes of Florida's game or so, as Draisaitl tries to get it in front to Bouchard there for Edmonton, but that was blocked away by Florida, and they're able to get it out now as Oposo has it. That was dumped away as here comes, I think that was Barkov as he blew a tire going into the zone. As now Edmonton's got, he gives it over to Holloway, and big scores! Dylan Holloway, and I think on a pass from Leon Draisaitl, and it just went over the glove of Sergei Bobrovsky. 3-1 Florida. Or Edmonton, rather. Thanks for not correcting me. I fixed it myself.
You're welcome.
From what it looked like from on the TV angle, I thought Bobrovsky had it in his glove.
I did too. I was just about to.
Let's check the replay.
Yeah, I don't know if he did. It might have just clipped his glove, but this was a good hard work and play by Draisaitl, able to outwork Ekblad, and then a pretty decent pass over to Holloway. And Holloway made a pretty decent move. I don't know if Bobrovsky really got a decent piece of it. It might have just been a slow flipper over top of his glove. But regardless, I think Edmonton has figured out. I think Edmonton has figured out the Bobrovsky Rubik's Cube, as they've been able to light him up for 3 goals in the first 15 minutes of this game. The first 2 goals, I could say I wouldn't really blame Bobrovsky on that one. I think Bobrovsky's got to have that one. Because, I mean, it was pretty obvious that Draisaitl was looking for a pass, and that was going to come from, and that Holloway was going to have the shot in the middle. So Bobrovsky's going to have that one. As Lundell is trying to dance around Broberg, he got a half shot away at it, as Mikkola was unable to keep it into the zone there when he pinched in, but Luostarinian's able to catch it at the red line, and he dumps it around as Skinner stops it behind the net and backhands it around. Luostarinian's able to keep it once again and at the point, as he does for the 3rd time as well, as he gets it over to Lundell off the boards to Ekman Larsson, who was unable to hold it, as McDavid almost was able to get away, and they call no offsides. I don't know how, but it doesn't matter now as the puck was able to come out of the zone. McDavid with it now as he just got crunched along the boards. We get a stoppage here. McDavid was almost able to split the Florida defenseman, and with the wheels McDavid has, that for sure would have been a breakaway. Here's another angle. Let's see if... it went off actually the bottom part of the glove of Bobrovsky.
Yep.
So, I give credit to Holloway. He did make a nifty little move on the way in, as the pass from Draisaitl was a tick behind him, so he had to make a little move to get it up there, and I give him credit. He worked hard. That was a hard-working goal right there.
Made a move to the backhand. Yep, that was mighty fine.
Mm-hmm. So, but, I mean, for Draisaitl, that was his 19th assist of this postseason. But the first one of this game, and we still have yet to hear from the other 3 of Edmonton's big guns, being Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, and McDavid, at least on the score sheet. So we'll have to see if they could come to the table. But I would dare say, well, I'll save it for the intermission of my opinions, and when we get to Andy's report card of the period for both teams. But I mean, just looking at it right now, if you just look at the faceoffs, Edmonton's up 63.6%. They've won of those faceoffs. Florida's only won 36.4%. So, and faceoffs are huge, especially when they're in the offensive zone. If you can keep it, and then in the defensive zone, you can help get it out, and then get a rush down on the other way. Maybe a possible odd man rush, 2-on-1, 3-on-2, or 3-on-1. So hopefully, if Paul Maurice has got a few more F-bombs he can drop during this TV timeout to get his guys riled back up.
Yep.
Because, I mean,
you would think at this point it's going to take the whole dictionary just to win the game.
hell, he's going to need a lot of synonyms right now. I mean, if you take Florida's play between the two TV timeouts, between the first and the second one, it wasn't horrible. But then they've kind of reverted back to how they played the first 5-6 minutes of the game as they ice it here. And Edmonton's been able to kind of do what Florida's been doing to them the whole series, which is take advantage of just itty-bitty mistakes. So, but the bonus Florida has is that during the first period, their goal differential is actually -4. But then the rest of the game overall, they're +25 in this postseason. So they're able to go down in the first period, but they're able to claw back, pun intended, into the game and win it. As Barkov gets it to Rodriguez, who launches it behind the net to Barkov. Barkov tried to get it out in front to Reinhart, out to the point Mikola's shot is blocked. To Reinhart, he shots, and that's blocked away by Skinner up into the air, and it's gloved down as Edmonton's able to get it out.
I'm surprised that wasn't a hand pass.
It was still in the defensive zone, that's why.
Oh.
As Montour has it out for Florida, and they're able to get it out, and close on the too many men would have went off pinballed by about 3 guys there that were trying to line change.
Oh, what a steal.
Out in front to Ekman Larson. He takes a shot, and that hits about 2 sticks on the way in and is above the net as Bennett picks it up. And I think that's Tkachuk. He's able to block away Draisaitl as Kulikov is unable to take a shot and was knocked down, and then the fans bitched that Draisaitl was tripped, although I think he blew his own tire, so he's going to need a new set of good years.
Yep.
That's dumped in by Edmonton as Holloway picks it up, but he's crushed along the boards by Ekman Larson. As Tarasenko comes away with it now for Florida, he stops and turns and tries to get it low and unable to, as Nugent Hopkins was there. Broberg gets it over to Ceci. Ceci up for Corey Perry to Derek Ryan, who dumps it in for Luostarinen to pick it up for Florida. And they're able to break it out of the zone up to Kyle Oposo, the former Buffalo Sabres captain. Broberg picks it up along the corner as he gets crunched along the boards by Oposo. As Forsling tries to shoot it for the point, but that's blocked. Darnell Nurse tries to hit a bouncing puck and was unable to. As Lundell's fighting along the boards with Oposo helping him out too, and Luostarinen's able to come away with it. He launches it around the Forsling on the other boards over to, I believe that was Tarasenko, and he kind of just whiffed on the one-timer. And that was a good stick there by Luostarinen, as McLeod would have had a breakaway for Edmonton there. But Luostarinen was going for his line change and just kind of threw a stick out there and is able to stop it as Rodriguez gets it out in front to Barkov, who tipped it. And Skinner had to be on top of it there as Montour was unable to keep it in the zone as he was coming in off the bench. As we get a little gaggle of players fighting for it along the boards. And that's dumped in by Edmonton. Montour picks it up. Backhands it to Rodriguez, who was able to get it out of the zone. Ekholm picks it up to Bouchard, who tried to get it over to, I believe that was Nugent Hopkins. Or no, it's McDavid, rather. As Bennett has it now. Gives it to Reinhart. Evan Bouchard's able to get it away and comes away with it. Gives it over to Zach Hyman, who I believe is the first time I've said his name this whole game. Just
Probably.
over 19 and a half minutes into the game here. As Florida's able to get it out of the zone. They got 11 seconds, but it looks like they're content with just letting it sit in the corner here rather than trying to go for a shot. And Edmonton's fine with doing the same thing. As the first period comes to a close, 3 goals from Edmonton, one of them being a shorty by Matthias Janmark, Adam Henrique with one, and Dylan Holloway with the other, and Vladimir Tarasenko with a tip from Gustav Forsling at the point is keeping Florida in the game. Other than that, I think Edmonton has definitely outplayed Edmonton has definitely outplayed Florida in this game. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
It seems like Florida kind of needs to gather themselves this next period and just kind of be aggressive if they want to win it. Of course, you know, they could do the gentlemanly thing that you said.
Oh, the gentleman's sweep?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, the gentleman's sweep is when you win it in 5 games. They call that the gentleman's sweep. I don't know who came up with that. I don't know why they call it that, but it's just what they call it. So, let's move on to Andy's report card. Your grade of Edmonton's play for this first period, what would you give them as a grade? And I'm assuming it's going to be a pretty high grade.
Yeah. Let's see. I think for Edmonton's grade right now, let's see. You know, I'm leading towards, I'm going to give them a solid B+. The thing that has stood out to me the most is obviously the offense of this team. Their speed is definitely intact and on display tonight from what we've seen through the first 20 so far. I've liked the quality of offensive chances this team has had, not only with scoring, but with the passing lanes as well. Even though they are down in the shots on goal category by a total of 14-10, that isn't really the deciding factor in this game right now. Obviously, we all know the 2-goal lead is, but what stands out to me as well is they have had better quality chances, in my opinion, from taking advantage of Florida's hiccups so far. For the defensive side of the game, I think they've done pretty well for the most part. So far, so good. Despite, I think, Vladimir Tarasenko getting on the board for Florida here, I think they've done a pretty solid job of containment for that category. Their defense has been pretty clean so far this game, but anything can change. So, definitely much improvements here. I think for Edmonton, I'm leaning towards a solid B+ for them right now.
I'm shocked you're only giving them a B+. I would have gave them an A-. I mean, other than that little hiccup they had where Florida was able to score, they've pretty much have controlled this game for the most part. I mean, the shots don't really tell the tale of who's been dominant this game. So, but all right, let's flip the coin over. Let's hear the grade for the Florida Panthers, and I don't expect it to be very good.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, B+ for the Edmonton Oilers, and then for the Florida Panthers, I think I'm gonna bring them over to a C+. I think a C+, C, it kind of mid-tier is kind of about the right answer. I do like how so far Florida is ahead on shots on goal. The offense from this team has not by no means has this offense been lazy. I just think the quality of the chances for Florida is not the greatest so far. There has been some pretty solid chances. But like I said about Edmonton's defense earlier, just a couple moments ago, they have done a pretty spectacular job to turn this thing around so far, even though we're only through 20. I think when it comes to Florida's defense, they got a lot of work to do. I think Florida's defense has had too many hiccups this first period so far, letting 3 get past them. I think that's too much for the first period and for this team in particular. And going back to your comments about halfway through the period earlier about Sergei Bobrovsky, yeah, I don't think the first 2 were on him. The third one, maybe it was a great pass that whoever scored that goal for Edmonton was Dylan Holloway. I think he scored. He received a really nice pass. Sergei Bobrovsky didn't have to move that much. It wasn't that cross crease to cross crease sort of movement with his butterfly slides, but it just seemed like a hiccup on his part to not have that glove side kind of sealed off. And like what you said earlier, yeah, no kidding. Dylan Holloway was definitely looking for a pass from Draisaitl, I think it was too. So yeah, but anyway, and then I think the Game 4 jitters have by all means gotten to Florida, as we can see from the lead that Edmonton has. This defense has got some work and some cleanup to do for their end of the game. Sergei Bobrovsky still solid as always, despite giving up those 3 here in the first period of play. I think for the offense, I don't think the offense has too much more to improve on it in my sort of way. Obviously, we all know they're ahead in the shots on goal category, but I think what we would like to see from them more is just a little bit better quality chances. I think quite a few times we've just seen them just throw it at Stuart Skinner and, call it good enough or play the dump and chase. Like, no, that's not what's going to beat Edmonton's defense. You've known that for a while now as you've won the first 3 games of play in this series. Like, And I think going back to what I said earlier on, I think on one of my comments before the start of the game, this game really could go either way. We could see Florida close it out right here tonight, depending on how the next 40 goes, or we could potentially see, as you said earlier, the gentleman's sweep, as to where if it does go to a Game 5 in Florida, they could close it out there. But what this Florida offense does know is they're going to have better chances than that. If they want to get it past Stuart Skinner, which, referring to the shots on goal category again, they are a little bit ahead on that, but definitely that's not what tells the tale in this game. I think the Game 4 jitters is kind of what has made the story of this game so far, plus Edmonton really turning up the heat, because like what you said earlier, they got nothing to lose. So for Florida, I mean, their offense it's definitely not spectacular, but it obviously does need improvement. So for Florida, as of right now, I've got them at a C+.
Okay. Before we hear Dylan's comments from a guy who is not a regular hockey fan, we're going to take a quick break. More Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals will be back up right after this. Game 4 of the Functional Idiots broadcast is brought to you by the Functional Idiots podcast, available wherever you download your podcasts. So a fantastic period, first period that is, for the Edmonton Oilers as they lead the Florida Panthers 3-1. In case you're listening to this rather than watching, we got our fancy dancy scoreboard once again being ran by Andy, who's doing a fantabulous job.
So far, so good.
So far, as I stay the hell out of the website so that way it doesn't become all janky like a crackhead.
Yeah, so it doesn't re-trigger a former power play that's expired 4 minutes ago.
Yeah, and then I'm sitting here wondering, like, why the hell is that still on the board? Andy, I give you one job, and you're screwing it up. No. So we've gone over Andy's report card. Now we're going to move over to the guy who doesn't watch hockey very much, but is getting into it more, and that would be Dylan. How would you assess what we've seen so far this first period of this Game 4, Dylan?
Going into it, obviously, Panthers were, obviously big dogs walking in here, winning 3-0. So, I was expecting them to do a little bit better, but obviously, I think Stanley Cup, nerves got to them. But, I think they'll probably turn it around. But so far, overall, a great game. Oilers came out of nowhere. And obviously it's because they have nothing to lose. They either win or they go home. One of the two. So, Oilers doing a great job. Panthers are hopefully going to finally kick it in. I mean, they're doing a good job of it so far. They're just making mistakes here and there that are very costly. One thing I've noticed between the difference, especially between the Oilers and Stars game, is how fast the Florida Panthers actually are. I mean, they are cruising to get down that ice. But just, I guess, not quick enough to make something out of it. I mean, they've got plenty of shots on goals, some of them close calls, by the skin of Skinner's teeth. See what I did there? But overall, just a great game. If I had to say, sorry, I'm getting distracted by this big ass Cheez-It on my screen.
And a Taco Bell Crunchwrap thing.
Yeah. So, but if I had to say, as someone who hasn't watched hockey hardly ever in their life, this is a great game to watch. This is highly entertaining. It's just just action all the way around. Both teams are trying to give all of it their all. So it's good to see that the Oilers are becoming more aggressive in Game 4. So
I agree.
Pretty eventful first period.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Very eventful, and it's if Florida can kind of get back their magic, what they did in the first 3 games, is that was a horrible shot there of Joe Biden. My God, they've got a chance. But if they kind of do what they did in the first 7 minutes of this period, and then the last 7 minutes of the period, they're going to be in trouble. They're going to be in big trouble because they had a good middle part of the period, about 5-6 minutes there between the first and the second TV timeouts, and I don't even think it was 5 minutes. But they haven't been very good after that. They've been.
Yeah, I think the first part of the period they were very, as you guessed it, very conservative with their shots and stuff. But I think right after, I don't know who is number 9 for the Florida Panthers.
Sam Bennett.
Yep.
I think as soon as Sam Bennett got hit and the way he got hit, they kind of changed their tone, and then they just cooled off.
Yeah, I agree.
No, sorry. They didn't cool off. They got too aggressive.
I think they thought they were I would say even that Edmonton just came out just guns a-blazing. I mean, just absolutely on absolute full kill. Because, I mean, as we've said 20 times so far, they've got to win. I mean, they have to win if they want at all any chance to bring the Stanley Cup back to Canada for the first time in 31 years. Obviously, the last team to do it was the Montreal Canadiens in 1993. And with a quarter of the league nearly in Canada, it's been a long time since Lord Stanley's Cup been back in Canada for a league that started in Canada. As I think we're going to get a not a too many men. They're just going to say it went off of the Edmonton player on the bench. But you were going to say, Dylan?
So I was going to say, so essentially, both teams have, like a goal to get. Like, this would be Florida's first time ever winning the Stanley Cup or bringing it to the Southeast or whatever.
Correct.
Whereas it's been 30 years since the Stanley Cup's been in Canada. So
yeah. Well, and also too, it'd be the first time on Florida's team that most of the guys on or Edmonton's and Florida's team, both teams have won a Stanley Cup. Obviously, quite a lot for Edmonton. Nurse has never won it. Nugent Hopkins never won it. Obviously, McDavid and Draisaitl have never won the Cup. And McDavid and Draisaitl are two guys whose numbers are going to be hanging in the rafters there in Edmonton, without a doubt. And they're already, I mean, even if they retired right now after the season, they'd be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So, they both deserve Stanley Cups, but they've kind of dug themselves a very deep hole, and it's going to take a lot to get out of this hole. As Edmonton, or I don't know who just got ran over along the boards there, but they just had their lunch frickin' eaten for him. As McDavid's got it now, he goes down and he scores! Connor McDavid finally on the board for Edmonton. As he got a pass up, I don't know who was front. He was in all alone and just beated Bobrovsky on the blocker side. Finally, McDavid, with an unassisted goal, is on the board on the score sheet for only the second time, I believe, in this series. I don't know who Ekblad. I think that Warren Foegele got absolutely ran over by Ekblad dude. There.
Holy crap!
He, like I said, he had his lunch freaking eaten. But the problem is then Ekblad, if you know your lineup, is a defenseman. So that left Carter Verhaeghe, who is not really a defenseman, to play defense and keep up with McDavid. Yeah, good luck. As that was a good shot there, just over the pad under the blocker there for McDavid.
Yep.
So
too many hiccups from this Florida defense. It's costing them big time right now.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to take shots on players, how about you take shots on the puck?
Oh, got him.
Yeah, no kidding.
Florida, I said before this period started, if they do what they did in the first 7 minutes, they're in trouble, and they're doing exactly what they did in the first 7 minutes of the game. They are going to be in friggin' trouble.
Yeah.
Here's a little unneeded fact for you. So Edmonton's first goal was at 3:11 of the first period. Edmonton's first goal of the second period was at 1:13. If you look at it backwards, it's 3:11 and 1:13. Both, whatever.
Whoa.
Sorry. Whoa, trippy. It's a conspiracy theory. It's Illuminati. Illuminati confirmed. No.
Follow the script.
That's
people.
Right. Everybody get your tinfoil. Everybody get your tinfoil hats on. Yep. Tinfoil hats on. Well, if Edmonton doesn't win, this would be a meltdown of epic proportions right now.
It would.
I mean, to blow a 4-1
funny.
lead, a 3-goal lead would be something else, especially in a game that you need to freaking win. As Edmonton picks it up now behind their own net, Nugent Hopkins gets it up to Ceci, who gives it up to Draisaitl, who has some speed trying to get around Kulikov. As Florida's able to get it out, courtesy of Oposo, as they get it into the zone, Edmonton zone, that is. Oposo with it behind the net. He centers it out in front, and that's blocked. I believe on a shot from Lundell. As Foegele comes away with it, and he's got some speed. He takes a shot, but he kind of whiffed on it, trying to get around Kulikov. Oposo with it now, unable to get it out of the zone. as Ekholm takes a shot from the point. That's tipped in front. I don't know by who. I believe that's by Warren Fogle there. That was a pretty good tip in front of Bobrovsky, who was on top of it, had to be quick on his feet.
I think it bounced off his skate.
I don't know. Let's see if we can get an old replay from it. I think Fogle may have gotten it with his stick. I'm not 100% sure.
He might have, and then Bobrovsky followed it up with a right pillow save and squeezed for the whistle.
Yeah, but regardless, Bobrovsky had to be on top of it, or it could have been possibly 5-1 Edmonton, and it would have been all over but the crying. As Nurse takes a shot off the backboards, that was definitely a set play.
Whoa.
As Brown tries to take a shot, and that was just knocked away. Out to the point, taking a shot, and that's wide. As Montour takes it away, gives it to Barkov, who's unable to get it out of the zone. So as they're still fighting for it along the board, that's a rare miscue by Barkov to not get it out of the zone for Florida. Florida finally able to get it out now as Reinhart gives it over the Montour, and he's going to dump it in, getting just over the red line, so it's no icing. As it's out in front, Barkov to Rodriguez, and it wasn't there. As Mikkola has it now. Gives it down to Rodriguez. As Edmonton now comes away with it. Darnell Nurse into the Florida zone, puts it on net. And Edmonton immediately gets it out, and I believe this is going to be no icing there, as it was tipped, as Verhaeghe has it, tries to center it to Sam Bennett. That's picked up by Edmonton, and they come back with it into the Florida zone. Derek Ryan with it. Now Corey Perry fighting off Ekman Larson, unable to. But McLeod's able to cut it off. Back to Corey Perry behind the net for Edmonton. McLeod get it up to Ceci and was unable to keep it in. And so that's a good free breakout for Florida. Good breakout. But Florida unable to do anything with it after their free breakout. As Edmonton brings it right back into the zone, and Kulikov is able to knock Ceci off the puck. Then promptly knocking himself into the boards. As Nugent Hopkins has it. Gives it to Ekholm, who gives it up to Holloway. Over to Draisaitl. A big save by Bobrovsky there. Another shot there from the point, and that goes wide.
Wow.
Tkachuk unable to get it out, but Montour is, as he gives it to Forsling. Over to Lundell. Lundell takes a shot, tipped by Forsling, but that goes wide. Forsling able to now to pick it up, though. Launches it back down, and that's cut off by Ekholm, who's able to lob it out of the zone to Holloway, who has it poked away by Mikkola. Florida able to get it out, and I think this is going to be an icing against Florida. No, it's not. They say it was tipped. As Edmonton's able to get it right back out, and they come away with speed as who else but McDavid has it, drops it back to Nurse, and he scores! Darnell Nurse,
wow,
with a beautiful drop back pass from McDavid, is able to beat Bobrovsky 5-1 Edmonton. Florida, the wheels are coming off.
Hey, Florida, what are we doing? They're trying to be gentlemanly, like they are giving them the game.
That is Darnell Nurse's first goal in this postseason. And McDavid's 30th. So McDavid being quiet in the first 3 games now has 2 points, a goal, and an assist. That's a beautiful shot by Darnell Nurse. Top cheese over the right shoulder of Bobrovsky. As we're going to see, Bobrovsky is actually going to be pulled, and Anthony Stolarz is going to make his first start in this postseason. Is going to come in for Florida. That is massive. I don't even know the last time I've seen a goalie change in a Stanley Cup Finals.
I couldn't tell you either.
That's a rarity.
It's actually not a bad move if you think about it. Keep Bobrovsky healthy. Let him stay healthy for Game 5. That way you don't risk him getting injured and things going worse for Florida.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Stolarz is no slouch himself. His regular season was quite well, 24-16-7. Had a .962 save percentage and only just over a 2.0 goals against average. So, I mean, he's no slouch. But to be put in this pressure now is big, as he has not played in about 2 months. 2 months' time. I don't even know when the last time he's actually played in a
man.
game. As Edmonton gives it up and Broberg skates it in, as he's pushed off the puck by Forsling. I think most of this, too, the goalie change isn't so much that Bobrovsky's been playing horrible, because I don't think Bobrovsky's been playing terrible. I mean, he hasn't been playing like he has the past 3 games, but a goalie change can also just kind of get your players a little oomph. Just do something. We got to change something, because what we're doing isn't working. As McDavid was trying to skate it in, he had it pushed away or poke checked away from him. Fogle gives it back to McDavid, who's in Gretzky's office. McDavid throws it in front there, and that goes off of Stolarz and about bounced in the net, and he's going to be able to cover that. And I got to tell you what, Stolarz' red pads and gloves look kind of spicy. Not going to lie.
They do. They do. I enjoy that color red setup a lot more than Bobrovsky's true white and blue setup that he rocks there. As someone who used to play goalie in a local beer league team, I enjoy cool goalie color setups, and the red on Stolarz is pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't even mind seeing the dark shade of navy blue that Florida uses for core color setup. That would be pretty cool to see too, for like a alternate mock-up or whatever you want to call it here as we go to a TV timeout.
Yeah, okay, so we're going to have an emergency Andy's report card. Andy, do you want to change your report cards at all so far? So,
yeah, I think I'm gonna drop Florida down to a D minus.
The rare D double minus out of Andy there. Are you gonna leave Edmonton at a B plus? Or are you gonna move them up into the A category?
We'll move them up to an A.
An A or an A? Are you gonna give them an A? So I would agree with that. Edmonton's been playing lights out hockey.
That's right.
So far. Florida, not so freaking much. They've been playing backyard hockey. And backyard hockey does not win Stanley Cups.
That's right.
So, I mean, the bonus is Florida's got 3 mulligan games they can throw away before they're really in trouble.
Yep, they got insurance.
So, that's good. But you don't want to give Edmonton life, and you've given them a lot of freaking life.
Too much. Way too much.
Yeah, to be down by 4, that's a massive mountain to climb. Being down only 3-1, that was still possible. 5-1 in Edmonton. The building's absolutely on fire like the forests in California. I don't see you coming back from this. I don't see you coming back from this deficit.
Yeah. There's all of our predictions are off the table.
Yeah, even Dylan's is out the window now.
Oh yeah,
Dylan's is out the freaking window. Hey, my secondary is still kind of there. I said it was going to be a 14-13. You know. We're getting close. We're getting close to certified barn burner. As we've had 6 goals so far this game. 4 more, and we'll be into certified barn burner territory.
Yep.
If I could choose, I'd like Florida to get the next 4, because then it will be a true, absolutely barn burner of epic proportions. As CC throws a shot in from the point, that hits about 2 sticks on the way through. Edmonton's still with it in the corner, and they are just outworking. Every single line is just outworking everybody on Florida's line. As Corey Perry has it now, tries to do it himself, but he's not McDavid. His number is about 7'2" little. And that's dumped in by Florida for an icing. So they are not going to be able to change their guys, and they've been out there for about 52 seconds. Yeah, I don't know what kind of come to Jesus moment. I would say if you take the third period of Game 3 through now, Edmonton's been playing really good hockey, and Florida has not. I think overall though, so like if you ended the game right now, Florida loses 5-1. This is good. This is actually good for Florida, because they've had everything go their way, and now they're finally facing some adversity. It's unfortunate that this adversity has come through a 5-1 ass whooping, but you face some adversity at least. as it's once again in the Florida zone. I don't know what the zone time is for both teams, but it is not even friggin' close. I would think Edmonton has got to be nearly double whatever Florida's zone time is.
Yeah.
As Edmonton takes it from behind their own net, and Ekholm tries to get it up to Draisaitl as Edmonton is offside, so they got to tag up. They're still offsides, and I think they're going to stop play. They did. As they're saying Edmonton was taking too long to tag up onside, so they're going to call offsides, and that's going to go all the way back into the Edmonton zone because that's where the pass originated from.
Huh. You don't see that every day.
No. So this was not an intentional offsides calling. It's just that Ekholm passed it from behind his own. Actually, no, they didn't call offsides. I wonder what they called then. You know what? I bet they called hand passed.
Yeah.
I bet they called a hand pass on Florida there as Foegele centered it out front there for Hyman, who's been kind of quiet this game, as McDavid has it now. He still has it out to the point there, and that one's saved by Stolars. I don't quite know who rifled that shot from the point, but it was a pretty good heater coming in.
He was able to squeeze it right in the breadbasket.
I think that was Kulak who ripped that one. Yeah, as McDavid is now tied with Evgeny Malkin from 2009 with the most playoff points in the last 30 seasons. In fact, he's on that list twice. Once in 2022 and once in 2024 as of right now. So if he gets one more, he'll hold the record for the most playoff points in the last 30 seasons in the NHL. As we all know, I'm sure Wayne Gretzky has the most, and that's never going to be touched. As Rodriguez takes a shot, and that's blocked by Darnell Nurse into the corner. Edmonton's going to come away with it now. They get it into the Florida zone. Nurse has it. Tries to throw it in the corner there, but it's cut off. But able to be picked up by Edmonton before it's turned over. And now Florida has it. They get it into the zone. As Barkov has it now in the neutral zone, and I think we might be getting a penalty here. As Connor Brown took a spill, and I think that spill was courtesy of a stick from Ekman Larsson. So a power play here for the Edmonton Oilers, whose power play has been kind of dormant for a while. Let's see if this is much of a slash. I mean, per the rule book, it's a slash, but I mean, the only reason Connor Brown fell is because he kind of blew a tire. But like I say, per the rule book, that is a slash. And I think in a 5-1 game, you can call that, and it's not that big of a deal. In a 5-4 or a one-goal game, especially if it was in a third period late in the game, I wouldn't call that. But I think the bonus here for Edmonton is that, okay, you're up by 4. If you want to try something new on a power play, this would be the time to do it. Just because your power play has not been very good in this series. In fact, it's 0 for 11. And so if you want to try something different, now's the time to do it. Because, okay, if you do end up giving up a shorty or it doesn't work, no big deal. We got a lot of room to work with. So, as Bouchard has it at the point, he gives it to McDavid. McDavid dances around, and that's off the post for McDavid. And they say it didn't go in. None of the players raised their stick. I do think that believe that went off the post as McDavid has it now. Nugent Hopkins to Bouchard. Back to Nugent Hopkins. He takes a shot, and that's saved by Stolars. I would say that nobody raised their stick in the air, and hockey players know when the puck went in the net, especially the one who shot it. And let's see here. McDavid, he kind of takes a little sidestep around Kulikov here, and just right off the iron.
Oh, that top right corner of the net was wide open too. Little textbook Connor Bedard toe drag right there, changed the angle of the shot.
Yeah.
And it was close.
If you actually look, Hyman was in front of Stolars right as McDavid was doing that little toe drag around Kulikov, and so Stolars never saw the shot until he probably heard it go off the pipe. as it's over the Bouchard, and he takes a shot, and that's blocked. As he picks it up again, gives it over to McDavid, who was beaver tailing a stick on the ice. Out in front to Draisaitl, and that goes wide. And a good breakout as it now goes back into the Edmonton zone. And Bouchard picks it up. Gives it to Nugent Hopkins, who couldn't handle it. As Sam Reinhart's trying to fight him for it, and Bouchard comes away with it. Gives it to McJesus. McJesus into the Florida zone over to Nugent Hopkins, who still has it. Over to Draisaitl. Draisaitl tried to go to Nugent Hopkins, but it was blocked by Reinhart, and Florida's able to get it out courtesy of Mikkola. But Bouchard got it to Nugent Hopkins, who gets it to Draisaitl, and he was screaming along the near side, and that shot is gloved down by Stolars.
Picked it out of the air.
As we have 11 seconds left in the power play for Edmonton here.
That right there, Dylan, is what we call textbook. Pick it out of the air. Look at that. Yeah.
Oink.
I do believe that shot actually would have went wider than that, but, hey, it stops play.
That's right. Take a breather.
So, looking at the shot totals, because ESPN is so reluctant to put the shot totals up on their little scoreboard icon there, whatever you want to call it. Edmonton has 20 shots on goal, and Florida's got only 14, which, is still decent, as that's thrown in front by Edmonton there, and no one there to bang it home, as Nurse was able to keep it in, and Florida's able to successfully kill off this penalty, as now they break into the Edmonton zone with Tkachuk having it. Tried to get it off to Bennett, who came in off the bench. Montour with it now. Montour tries to throw it in short side, and Skinner was able to just get a piece of it with his head, I think. You've definitely been seeing a little scrum here, a little pushing and shoving. You've definitely been seeing that a lot lately of guys trying to bank it in off of goalies' heads short side. And that's exactly what Montour tried to do there, but wasn't.
It's filthy.
Yeah, wasn't quite able to get the angle right.
I don't know why, but I've taken a notice that every time that Florida somehow gets one guy that's screaming up there, nobody else is there with him. So he has nobody to pass it to. It's like, what the are you guys doing,
Yeah, exactly.
I would think, Edmonton's had that too, but they've had it where at least, even if you've been out there a long time, have another guy go with them.
Yeah, at least have two people up there.
Yeah, exactly. Give yourself a chance. Because, you have to look at it, okay, how long has the defenseman you're going in been out there? Now, I know that's really looking at the game within the game, but if you're Edmonton, or let's say, this is Florida's problem. If you're Florida and you're going into the Edmonton zone, okay, and the Edmonton defensemen have been out there for just as long as you have, so a minute plus, hell, have another guy stay out there with them. They're just as tired as you. But yeah, if they're fresh guys, different story. But it's I've noticed that too. Every time Florida has a chance to get it in, it's like the guy's just sitting there, with his dick in his hand, going, "Okay, who's my help? Where's my help at? Oh, my help's still waiting for the city bus to come and bring us to the rink. Thanks, guys, appreciate it."
Yeah, I just don't get it. It's like, as Andy, I keep going back to what Andy said. Quality team. I have not seen quality teamwork from Florida, at all in this game. They knocked their goalie out. They're just not showing up when they need to show up with each other. It's just, wow.
Yeah, low quality game. Edmonton's already scored more goals in this game than they have in the whole frickin' series.
That's right.
Clearly, Edmonton came out from their crypt and was like, "Yo, we're here."
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like I said, you could go back to the third period of Game 3. That's really when it's like a light switch changed for Edmonton, and they realized, maybe we should start playing what we're paid millions of dollars to do.
That's right.
The problem is in Game 3, they were down 4-1, so they had to claw themselves out of a deficit, and they weren't able to. So I really put them on the back foot here and being down 3-0 in the series. But they definitely have come out oil rigs ablazing in this game.
Now, I don't know if you guys noticed from earlier, but earlier I saw a Florida Panther. I think it was number 13.
Sam Reinhart.
I think that's so. Oiler dude, I don't know who it was, just came up, took the puck from him, and he did nothing. He was just like, "Yep, it just happened." It's like, you're not gonna fight for the puck, dude?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah.
I saw that play. Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
where?
Talk about
What?
talk about laziness.
Yeah, dude just gave up. I was like, yo, this is the Stanley Cup. You don't just give up.
Like,
That's right.
Oh, he just took my money. Okay, that's okay.
I'll give him more. How about that?
I guess we can postpone little Jimmy's surgery for some other time. As there's a shot by Ekholm, and that's stopped by Stolars. As they're still digging away at it, and I don't know who kept digging at Stolars there.
Man, he's ready, dude.
We got a scrum here.
I think that was Hyman who kept digging at Stolars, and Bennett came over and bowled him over, and I don't know who's going. I know Bennett's going because they were pointing at him. I don't know who else is going. They're pointing at someone else. As we get a little bit more scrumming here going on. As Bennett's got McDavid tied up. Just giving a little jabs into the face there.
McDavid is just laughing about it.
Well,
like
yeah,
oh.
And are we actually going to see a fight? Oh, you candy asses. Fogel and Ekman Larson have got each other tied up. They're hugging it out.
Practically kissing each other.
Yeah. Stolars has got its hand on Hyman because
he's like, good job, man. You're really giving it to us.
Well, Kachuk's already been, I believe, taken away to the sin bin. And I can tell right now, Florida is playing very uncharacteristically when it comes to discipline. They are definitely frustrated, and they are letting that frustration out, and it's biting them now because I believe they're going to get two different minors between Kachuk and Bennett. So, like right here, Hyman started poking at the puck, which was under Stolars, and Bennett came and bowled him over, and then Kachuk also came in and bowled him over. And then he started giving McDavid the business. And there's a couple good punches right there. So that's what's gonna send
Kachuk just wants some smoke.
Yeah, here is Kachuk's gonna go to the sin bin, probably for roughing. And I would assume that Sam Bennett's gonna go in the sin bin. So let's see. It's going to be a 5-on-3 power play for Edmonton. So 2 separate minor penalties.
Man, it really frustrates me when players are frustrated because they're losing and they start taking it out on the other team. It's like, you have nobody to blame but yourselves, excuse me.
Yeah, I agree. It's like,
man, they had the ball and they are just fumbling it right now.
Yeah, they are fumbling the bag. Now you might wonder why the faceoff is in the neutral zone, even though Florida just took 2 penalties. The defense for Edmonton came down below the circles and engaged in the scrum after the whistle, and so that's why the faceoff comes out of the zone. It's a rule to help kind of keep scrums to a minimum.
Gotcha.
Because it's a lot easier to control only 3 guys on each side tangling each other rather than 5 on each side. Especially when there's only, 4 guys wearing stripes out there. As now Edmonton's going to be able to see if they can make their 5-on-3 power play do anything except waste 2 minutes. As McDavid takes a shot, and that's tipped by Hyman in front that goes wide. Draisaitl back to McDavid. McDavid to Draisaitl, and he shoots it wide of the net. McDavid picks it up, gives it to Bouchard, who gives it back to McDavid, over to Draisaitl, back to Bouchard. He rifles one that goes wide. Stolars might have gotten a piece of it with his gloves. McDavid gives it back to Bouchard. Back to McDavid, to Nugent Hopkins, to McDavid in the slot, who couldn't quite get it down low. Back to Nugent Hopkins, who skates it around behind the net. Out to Bouchard at the point. He rifles one that's blocked by Steenlin, and that's also blocked on a shot from Nugent Hopkins. Out to Bouchard.
This right here, Florida is like, it's very important that they keep their what they're doing.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good killing this penalty kill, this 5-on-3, as McDavid has it now. Gives it to Draisaitl, and that's off the arm of Stolars and off the post. And then I believe Hyman banks it in the net. I don't know who they're going to give the goal to as we get a little bit more of a scrum going on. As Florida is having an absolute meltdown in this Game 4. I don't know if the initial shot from Draisaitl went in, from his normal office space. But if not, Hyman was able to bang home the rebound, rather. I'd say the cameras are looking at Hyman, so I would say they're going to give the goal to him. Let's see. Draisaitl is... No, I don't think Draisaitl scored. That's going to be either Hyman's or Nugent Hopkins' goal.
Hey, Florida Panthers, how about you buy me dinner next time before you screw me out of my prediction?
Let's see here. Yeah, it went off of Stolarz' arm and then off the bar and then rolled down his back, and then I actually think that's going to be Nugent Hopkins' goal.
Yep, it went off his stick. Yep.
Man.
So they're going to give it to Ryan Nugent Hopkins. So far, it's unassisted. I'm sure that's going to change to Draisaitl and McDavid.
Man, Edmonton has completely changed the atmosphere. Because going into this, I could just see that the crowd was dead. They're like, oh, well, I hope we win. And now they're like, we're going to win.
For sure.
Man.
Well, I would say this game is about a lost cause now for Florida. You're down by 5. You're getting your asses absolutely handed to you on a silver platter.
And they can't keep a level head in order to actually play good. Like, man, jeez. I'm all about seeing, like, fights in hockey because I just think that it's funny. But, oh my gosh. Like, oh my gosh, why would you try and do that when you're so far behind?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So McDavid is chasing history. If he can get one more apple in this postseason, he will set the record for the most assists in a postseason. Right now, he's tied with, well, none other than Wayne Gretzky at 31.
You want to talk about generational talent? That's what it looks like right there.
Yeah, no kidding. So, our first 2 broadcasts have been a lot better quality of game than what this crap has been. And because of that, I think we're going to change a little bit on the fly, because now it really doesn't matter, because I think this game is over, even though we still got 25 and a half minutes left of regulation. We're going to change the format here. We're just going to kind of BS talk now the rest of the time. Because, what the hell else is going to happen? There's no dramaticness in this game other than if we can get 3 more goals and we're in certified barn burner territory. That shot from Edmonton is blocked on the way through. And
Florida's playing like they're just hitting snooze on their alarm and not waking up.
Yeah, that's a good analogy right there, Dylan. I like that.
Yep.
They need to find the trap door and hide in it and get out of here.
Yeah, no shot, dude.
Because it's over. It is over.
No surprise here. Edmonton's in Panther territory.
Yeah, guess who? What do you mean? This isn't Panther territory. This is Oilers territory. By this rate.
And someone just fell flat on their face. I can't, dude. This is wow.
There's a good stat right there. The first 8 periods of this series, Edmonton only scored twice. In the last 3 periods, they've scored 8 times. Welcome to the finals, boys.
Talk about a wake-up call.
Yeah. Well, I'd say this is more of a wake-up call for Florida, because they're now facing some serious adversity for really the first time this postseason. I mean, they beat Tampa 4-1 in the first round. Then they beat Boston in 6, and they beat the Rangers in 6. And they never really fell behind at all. I mean, obviously in the Tampa series they never did, but in the Rangers series, I don't know if they ever were behind. The Rangers won game 1, but they never really fell behind more than a game. And then the same thing in the Boston series too. They never really fell behind. And so this is different territory for the Panthers to be getting clobbered this bad. But it goes back to an old saying that I always had, that it doesn't matter in every single playoff series. There's always one game that's an absolute blowout. There just always is a game.
Yep.
And if we go back to the old general rule that me and Andy used to have, when a team loses by 4 or more goals in the playoffs, that is a serious paddling.
That's right. That's right.
And Florida's getting a paddling of epic proportions right now as someone just got upended. I think that was Draisaitl by a post. So he just got
like peanut butter.
Yeah, he just got absolutely clobbered into the boards.
Yeah. And then makes a terrible pass. So 2 teammates missed it.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Great.
Pete.
Great. You just launched some dude into the office building 6 blocks over, but then immediately turned the puck over. Good job.
Man, I hope I know I wanted I had the Florida Panthers winning, but I really hope Edmonton wins.
Well,
But
I think
it's like by a crap load.
I think your hope is gonna come true here.
Come true.
Cause good Lord, if this keeps going this way, I need to go upstairs and get a beer.
Yeah. Because the campfire's cooking here in Edmonton.
Yeah. Yeah. Florida came in wanting all the smoke. Well, they're getting all the smoke.
Yep.
Man.
Oh, man.
Wow.
I mean, Florida's still leading in the hit total, but other than that, Edmonton's got him in every single stat. Shots on goal, 25-16. Face-off, 56.8 to 43.2. Obviously, Edmonton finally has scored on their power play. Florida is beating them in penalty minutes, although that's not really a stat you want to lead.
Right.
they got him in hits, 36 over 27. Block shots are nearly even, but Florida's got them Edmonton's got Florida by 2, 15-13. The one stat that Florida is actually winning in, that's a actual good stat, is in giveaways. They've only had 5 compared to the Oilers' 13. And I think that more comes from the high-risk, high-reward plays that Edmonton's playing with.
Yeah.
Because they had to at the beginning of the game if they wanted a chance to win, right? They had to change their style of play. Because if they played like they did in the first 3 games, they were going to be polishing up the cup in the third period to be presented. So, and then in takeaways, Florida's got 7 compared to Edmonton's 9.
Could you imagine like bringing the Stanley Cup here, getting it ready to go, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Yeah, we're not going to need it today."
Yeah, put it on the plane back to Sunrise, boys.
Has there ever been like a mercy stoppage of a game?
Nope.
In hockey?
There is no mercy rule in the NHL.
Dang, so if you get blown out, you're like a baby's diaper, you're blown out.
Yep, you got it. You got to suffer through the whole 60 minutes.
That's right.
I don't know what the worst blowout. I mean, there's been blowouts in the regular season of 10-1. In fact, there was 2 of them this year against the same team, 2 nights in a row.
Youch.
Big oofs. If you are an NHL fan of any sort, you could probably guess who that team was. And that team won the Mechlin Celebrini sweepstakes this year. So,
Yep.
As Florida launches that puck into the crowd, so a fan got a free souvenir. A 3-inch wide, 1-inch tall piece of rubber. And it's not a dildo. It's not a condom.
Florida stopped going after the players and started going for the fans.
Yep, that's right.
That's right.
They're going after the 5th line now.
Yeah, it's going to take a while to take out these 19,500 whatever on the 5th line, but damn it, we're going to do it. Oh, man. I don't even know. Okay, so, since this game's about over, Andy, I want to get some opinions of yours. Now, we're from the state of Michigan, so our home team is the Detroit Red Wings. All right, and I'm going to load up all old Cap Friendly here before it gets shut down because the Washington Capitals bought Cap Friendly. So on a couple days after the NHL free agency starts, the Cap Friendly will be no longer available because us fans can't have anything nice.
That's right.
So this year, the Detroit Red Wings, their RFAs are Mo Seider, Joe Veleno, and Lucas Raymond. Okay, now obviously Lucas Raymond had a 72-point season, career best, this past year, and Moritz Seider just does Moritz Seider things the whole time.
That's right.
They're obviously going to get re-signed. What do you think they will be signed contract-wise?
Oof, that's tough.
To help you out, Detroit, the estimated cap limit next year is going to be 88, 89 million, right around there. So if you're taking that into account, Detroit's going to have about $30 million in cap space.
Yeah, okay. That's pretty good. I've loved the sport of hockey for many years, don't get me wrong, but one of the things I wouldn't necessarily say struggle at, I would more so rather say pay least attention to would be contract values and stuff like that. So to be honest, I really don't know.
I would say probably 6 years ago, I didn't care so much about contract values and contracts in general, but lately now I do, just because the Red Wings have been so terrible because of Ken Holland, who is currently the GM of the Edmonton Oilers. And because he signed some pretty stupid contracts. I mean, not pretty stupid, absolutely freaking horrendous. So stupid, it makes you contemplate life choices, contracts.
That's right.
Now, I'm not saying that Steve Yzerman's been perfect either, but he's been a hell of a lot better than what we had before. So if we go at what the current maximum contract that you can offer under the current collective bargaining agreement between the NHL and the NHLPA is 8 years.
Yeah.
So I would assume that Raymond and Seider are both going to be signed for either 7 or 8 years. Because if you're Detroit, you're going to want to lock them in for quite a long time at a decent cap hit, because the cap's most likely just going to keep going up by 2 to 3 million every year. And so if you can lock them in for, say, 7 to 8 million, both, okay, yeah, it's going to chew up 14 to 16 million this year, but in 8 years, that's going to look like a really good freaking contract that you signed them at if they keep doing what they were doing.
Exactly.
Our UFAs this year are Shane Gostisbehere, who I'd love to see re-signed because he was a pretty solid defenseman for Detroit this year. Daniel Sprong, David Perron, Christian Fisher, and the greatest phenom to hit the ice this year, old Patty Kane.
I've been loving to talk about him.
So do you think Patty Kane, does he stay or does he go?
I think he stays in Detroit because I think I heard some sort of rumor on, I think it was Facebook with his agent. I think, I could be wrong because obviously, you don't want to believe everything you see on social media and the internet nowadays, but I think Patty Kane stays here. So I'd like to have him stay here.
I'd like to see Patty Kane stay. Obviously, if you don't know, at the end of last season, so the 22-23 season, he had hip resurfacing surgery, which is when they go in, they don't do a hip replacement. They resurface the joint in the hip because it's I wouldn't say it's easier to do because hip replacements are quite common, but when you do a hip replacement, you're basically no longer NHL eligible. You can't play in the NHL with a piece of titanium in your hip. You just can't because the physicality is not good. So the point of the hip resurfacing is that it can help at least extend your career a little bit longer. He did that. He signed with Detroit for only a 1-year contract, I believe at like $2.75 million. And then the sumbitch went and had 50 points in 53. Left Chicago because he didn't want to be part of a team rebuilding. Now you could argue he went to Detroit. Yeah, but I would argue Detroit is out of the rebuild. Okay, we missed the playoffs by a tie. So
Yeah.
we missed the playoffs by a point. We are playoff contenders now. Now we're not Stanley
Yeah.
Cup contenders, but that's okay. We are playoff contenders. So I would say we are out of the rebuild.
Yeah, definitely. Exactly. So, and why I agree with the statement of the Detroit Red Wings are now out of the 4 or 5 year rebuild that we went through, whatever, how long it was. I don't know what, maybe even 6 years. The next process is now getting our young players that playoff experience, kind of like what Florida had to go through. You know, like the players on the team, they got to get through the playoffs and experience at least once before they win a Stanley Cup. You know, that effect itself plays so much into the sport of not only hockey, but I'm pretty positive it's all the other sports around the world too.
Agreed.
So yeah, if you're playoff contenders and you're fighting for playoff spots consistently, your record is obviously going to be batting over 500. So and that's far from a rebuild. Any team that's considered rebuilding for me are the bottom the bottom 10 teams, the teams that are 32nd through 22nd fighting for the first overall draft pick. Whether they tank on purpose or not, I don't know. But my thought process is the bottom 10 teams are on rebuild, in my opinion. And then the teams that are playoff contenders are fighting for that wild card number 3, you know, even spot in their division or conference, just depending on what they go for. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
so
I agree with teams that are 22nd, even I'd say even 20th on back in the league overall are in either rebuild mode or in retool mode. Because if you're not contending for a spot in the playoffs, you got to change something, right? You got to do something different. So, another player who Detroit has on RFA this year who we need to re-sign, who I would assume that we're going to, is someone you know very well, at least in the Grand Rapids Griffins era, is Jonathan Bergeron.
Oh, man, yeah, he's been a talk and a half this season. I tell you what, boy, even though we even though it was super awesome that we beat Rockford in the first round of the playoffs this year, despite losing a very, very rough Game 5 against Milwaukee, Jonathan Bergeron has been nothing short of spectacular, in my opinion. So I would love for us to re-sign him as well. Yeah, definitely. You said he's a restricted free agent or something like that?
Yes, he's an RFA this year.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I would like to. I'd like to see us re-sign him too. And then another thing I thought of just a moment ago. Not to go off topic or anything. Like I said earlier, I don't keep up with contracts and I don't pay attention to them hardly ever. I don't know where we are at with the contract of this one young gentleman. I think I'm pretty sure he's still in his rookie contract. But one of the biggest talks of the Detroit Red Wings franchise overall, in my opinion, is none other than goaltender Sebastian Cossa himself. I personally, for my opinion, would like to see him make the jump next year. Like I said earlier in this game, as someone who used to play the starting goaltender for a former beer league team, playing goalie, it was super fun back in the day that I got to do 2 years ago. And someone who pays attention to a lot of the goalies and their performance and whatnot, I do not remember the exact all throughout the regular season. So like I said, for the headline of my opinion just a moment ago, I would like to see Sebastian Cossa make the jump for the Detroit Red Wings in having him earn his Red Wings next season. Now, I'm not necessarily saying he's going to make the starting role right away. I can more actually see him fit into a comfortable backup role if that makes sense. I think what Stevie Y here is going to do with the Iser plan, if this be the case, he does make that jump. I think Kosa's going to get that slower pace development. I'm not necessarily saying slow, because obviously the NHL is a lot faster paced than the American Hockey League. But what I am saying for the core purpose of him making that jump is the backup role as a whole. Let him get used to the speed of the game here in the big league, getting used to playing with new teammates. You got a new coach, a new goalie coach to work with, and just let that Iser plan just kick in like what us Detroit fans have trusted for X amount of years now. So as this being one of the most controversial topics for the Detroit Red Wings franchise, I'm very positive and very pleased and happy to see that Sebastian Kosa and the rookie and raw talent and high potential he has, I could very, very well see him fitting pretty comfortably in that backup role as we move forward.
So Sebastian Kosa has 2 years left on his entry level. So he signed up through the end of 2026.
Okay, yep.
Detroit, now James Reimer is a UFA right now, or will be a UFA on July 1st. I don't see Detroit re-signing him.
Yeah, yep.
Alex Lyon is still signed for another year at $900,000, which is an absolute freaking steal.
That's perfectly fine by me.
And then Ville Husso is still signed for another year at $4.75 million. So there's not really a slot for Kosa to go in, especially since Husso has a no trade clause in his agreement.
Oh, that's right.
I'm sorry, he has a modified no trade clause. So he submits 10 teams that are on his no trade list, and I'm sure Vegas is one of them. So I could see Kosa will probably play another year in GR just to help development, because the worst thing you can do to a player is bring him up to the NHL too soon.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, some players like Connor McDavid, yeah, they don't need to play in the AHL. They are ready to roll. Mm-hmm. But that's only your first 4 guys generally. First 4, maybe 7 guys, depending on how good the draft year is, are ready to play in the NHL right away. Other guys, they need to play in the AHL and just, hone their skills a little bit more. Not everybody is Connor Bedard right out of the gate.
Yeah.
But if you look at Detroit's goaltending situation, okay, you got Kosa, who's pretty good, right? But then you got this other guy who is not in the AHL or NHL yet. He's still in college, plays at MSU, and his name's Trey Augustine. And let me tell you, he's a pretty damn good guy, pretty damn good player.
The Michigan State Spartans.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
So before we get too far into that, I got a dip. So
yeah, Dylan's got to go. Right. Dylan's got to go pick up the side chick.
And
second intermission.
I mean, I'm not missing much. It's 6-1.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. It would have been hard to leave if it was like a 4-3 or like 3-2 nail. Like, Yeah, this game is over, all over but the crying, as they say. So thank you, Dylan, for joining us. You witnessed an ass whooping of epic proportions in the finals.
Oh yeah, that was wow.
So hopefully, if this series does somehow go to Game 6, which will be, if it does, is next Friday at 8 p.m. I think we could possibly swing that as a broadcast, possibly, depending how stuff falls, unless Florida closes it out Tuesday in Game 5, which I think is most likely to happen. So,
yep.
But until we talk next time, Dylan, tomorrow, when we record the Functional Idiots podcast, don't be dumb.
Don't be. I'll try not to.
No, you won't.
Not a problem.
No, you won't.
All right, see ya.
See ya. But anyways, for Trey Augustine, that dude's an absolute freaking unit.
Oh, is he ever?
If he could keep doing what he's been doing in the college ranks, man, Detroit's gonna be set on goaltending for quite a while.
Yeah, Kosa and Augustine, sign us up.
Yeah, and that's not even counting who else Detroit has waiting in the wings. We have Simon Edvidson as a defenseman, who is absolutely fantastic as a defenseman.
Yeah. I loved watching him play in Grand Rapids this year. It was so great.
Yeah, you also have Elmer Soderblom as a forward, who is basically like Edmondson. He just, is in a forward position. Another great player. Both of them are still on entry level. Soderblom for another year and Edmondson for 2 more years. So that's good there. So they could still play another year in Grand Rapids and hone their skills. Although I could see Soderblom being on like the 3rd or 4th line this year. Cap Friendly does say that Nate, and I remember seeing something about this, that Nate Danielson has been signed to an entry level contract.
Yep, absolutely. I did hear that.
And he is a pretty damn good player. We we drafted him last year as our whatever our first draft position was. I don't remember what it was.
Yep.
I think we were obviously in the first 16. I think we were like 12th, 13th, something like that last year, although we may have traded up. You also have Marco Casper, who's been signed to an entry level. And so has Emmett Finney, although I haven't heard much out of him, so I don't think he's going to go much anywhere.
Me neither.
Axel Sandine Pellica. Boy, that rolls right off the freaking tongue. He's on an entry level, and so is Shai Bolum. No idea who that is.
Buium.
Sure, we'll go with that. So I think, if we wrap up $16 million on the safe side, we'll even say safe $19 million between Sider and Raymond. That leaves us about $10 million left over. Okay, let's say we can give Patty Kane $5 to $5.5 million, and he gives Shane Goss to spare $3-4 million. Okay, yeah, it doesn't leave you a ton of cap room left, but you keep some guys you need to keep. Between Raymond and Sider, I think Goss to spare is another good player to keep, unless you are willing to move up Evanson into the NHL, which I think you could get rid of somebody else like Jeff Petrie or Oli Mata rather than Shane Goss to spare, or even Justin Hull, who's been a freaking healthy scratch most of the year.
Yep.
And then for forwards, okay, yeah, it'd be nice to keep David Perron because he is that veteran presence, but whatever. I'm not super high on Joe Veleno.
Neither have I. I've heard quite a lot of trade talks with him on social media.
I mean, I wouldn't cry if he left. I wouldn't be hurt that bad.
Me neither. I'd like to trade him.
Christian Fischer, he was a good 4th line grinder, but it's thanks, but we need to move on. Daniel Sprong was okay.
From the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah. We have 1 more year on Robbie Fabry's contract, which my problem with Fabry, he's really hot and cold. And lately he's been a lot more cold than hot.
Yep.
So I wouldn't mind seeing him traded or, just playing out the last year of his contract here at $4 million and then saying, see you later. We got a lot of guys here sitting in the ranks that are willing to come up and hopefully be good players for us. So, I think Detroit's sitting in a pretty good spot. I think they're sitting in a real good spot. They kind of just need to get their goaltending situation figured out. I think as what's a permanent solution, because Alex Lyon, he's a good backup. He's not quite ready for the full-time job. I mean, it showed this season when Ville Husso got hurt, and then we were kind of bouncing between Lyon and Reimer, going back and forth, but then Lyon started playing really good. So then we started playing Lyon over and over and over and over again. Well, then he just got overworked, and it started going downhill.
Yep.
So definitely got to get that situation figured out. But I think Detroit's sitting in a good spot. So enough Detroit talk. Let's go to Andy's report card. Andy, what's the report card for Edmonton this period? Let's give it a real about 5 seconds. What's the report card for these first 2 periods?
I think we'll give it an A+. Just for grins and giggles.
All right. What's Florida's?
I think we'll give it about the F-.
F-. So Florida has been given the certified F- from our certified functional meth head. I mean, Andy.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, if you get a certified F- from Andy, that's not good. Yeah,
But what do you do?
Florida's definitely laid an egg in this game, without a doubt. And I think we're probably the only people in America that aren't Edmonton Oilers fans that are still watching this game. I can't imagine anybody else who's a non-Oilers fan is still watching this game, unless they're hate watching, trying to see if the Oilers blow a 5-goal lead, which, boys, I don't see that happening. So the third period is underway, because, yes, we still need to play another period of this absolute lunacy here, as Florida's going to try and see if they can do something here and somehow shoot 5 or more on Edmonton here to either win the game or send it to overtime. Imagine if Edmonton lost this game now, up by 5 in the third period. Imagine if you lose this game. I mean, that would be the most epic meltdown I think you could ever have.
Probably.
As Matthias Janmark is going to go to the sin bin for Edmonton here. So Florida's going to go on the power play and see if they can get anything rolling. I didn't quite catch and see what they gave to Janmark. I gave him a hooking. So let's see here. Yeah, I mean, I think Barkov sold a little bit, but, when your stick's parallel with the ice like that, they're going to call that every day, all day, every day, twice on Sundays.
Yeah, yep, no kidding.
So, but since it's Saturday, we only called it once. As Florida's going to see if they can get their power play working at all, as Tkachuk tried to take a shot short side, and that went above the net. Skinner's been playing pretty damn good this game, I would say. I mean, other than the one goal that Florida's got, which was a tip, which on a tip, you can't blame a goaltender on a tip. You cannot put any fault on a tendy when the puck's tipped, especially how it was. Right in front of him, and Tarasenko tipped it down, and then it bounced. That goaltender's got no chance.
Oh, yeah.
No chance, but that was a good shoulder save by Skinner there from Verhaeghe.
Pretty textbook.
Yeah. Verhaeghe with another shot that was blocked. And Barkov comes away with it, skates it into the Edmonton zone. Verhaeghe with it now, up to the point to Tkachuk. Tkachuk trying to look for a cross pass to Montour, and it was tipped, I actually think, by Foegele. I don't think Barkov tipped it. So that was a good heads-up play by Skinner there. Let's see. Who did it go off of? Yeah, it was right off of Warren Foegele. And, boy, Skinner, good thing he kicked out that left pillow there. That would have been an unfortunate bounce.
Yeah, own goal.
Yeah. So, obviously, what Foegele was doing. It's not like he was purposely trying to put it in his own net, like, April Fools. No. He's trying to, tip it away from the net, except, he would have been better off not touching it than what he did. But no harm, no foul, as Edmonton skates away with it. Connor Brown, almost looking like the first period there. Except instead of having Janmark with him, he had Adam Henrique. But he's able to get it out again here. Both teams do some line changes here. Rodriguez has it for Florida. Gives it to Bennett, who gives it over to Tarasenko. Tarasenko over to Lundell, and a good save by Skinner there as he dove across to make that save. Lundell was in Draisaitl's office between the bottom of the circle and the goal line. Rodriguez down to Bennett. Bennett over to Lundell, or Tarasenko rather. Tarasenko got to Ekman Larsson to Rodriguez, who has it, and he shot it wide, trying to go short side on Skinner. Lundell gives it to Bennett in Gretzky's office. Back to Lundell and to Bennett, who skates it in front and tried to just do kind of a sort of wraparound. Wasn't able to shove it home. Lundell gives it down to Bennett, and a quick pass out in front to, I believe, actually, I don't even know who that was, as Ekman Larsson has it now for Florida. Gets it up, but it's turned over, and Edmonton ices it down. They're going to call no icing, as I believe the power play or the penalty kill just ended for Edmonton. So a good kill by Edmonton. Not that they really needed the momentum to go their way, but hey, you didn't shift any going the other way, so that's good. As that's no icing against Edmonton here, as Heidman's got it in the corner. Fighting off Oposo. Oposo with it now. He's able to bank it off of an Edmonton skate into the neutral zone. And that's dumped in. Now Forsling has it for Florida. Gives it up to Mikkola. As Skinner stops it behind the net. And he shoots it around the boards, but Tarasenko cuts it off, gives it to Lundell, who gives it to Mikkola. Shot from the point from Kulikov is made it through, and a good save by Skinner. Rebound in front for Luostarinen and is unable to bang it home. Now it's in the corner as Mikkola and Luostarinen are fighting for it against Broberg and Perry. Luostarinen comes away with it, gives it to Tarasenko, who gives it back to Luostarinen as he couldn't get a shot off of it. Luostarinen with it behind the net, but he loses it. As Derek Ryan was crunched along the boards by Tarasenko. There's a shot from the corner by Luostarinen that's covered by Skinner, and we get a little bit more pushing and shoving here. So I don't know what was said in the room for Florida, but they've definitely come out with a little bit more energy. But it's gonna be one of the cases of too little, too late here.
Oh yeah. Edmonton's defense can just clamp it up right here. So
yeah, that's all they need to do is just play defense here, and they'll be fine.
That's about it.
Yeah. I said Florida's a good team, but so is Edmonton, and Edmonton's not going to blow a 5-goal lead, not with 15 and a half left in regulation. I don't know if any team has blown a 5-goal lead in the playoffs in the third period. That's a stat that I don't think has ever been made. If it has, I would like to see who goofed that up. Because that is a goof of epic proportions if you goof that up. I mean, that's beyond Garsh. As Connor Brown runs Ekman Larson into the boards. Florida comes away with it. Verhaeghe gives it to Bennett. As Paul Maurice is kind of mixing up the lines here for Florida. I guess this is the time if you wanted to try something different because, again, you're most likely not going to come back from this. So if you wanted to try something different, I mean, you should anyways, being down by this, but, hey, let's see what happens here. As Barkov has it now. Gives it to Reinhart. Gets it out to the point to Ekblad. Well, Edmonton's able to come away with it. It's cut off at the point as someone just got bowled over along the boards. But Forsling gives it to Alexander Barkov, who shoots it into the zone, and Rodriguez has it, gives it to Ekblad. Shot from the point is stopped by Skinner, and then a rebound is shoved away by Barkov. And that is going to be an delayed offsides by Florida, so they got to tag up, and Edmonton's in no hurry to rush the puck up the ice. As I do believe Edmonton's going to do a lot of the dump and chase just to kill time. As Florida comes away with it, but they lose it in the neutral zone, and Nurse gives it over to Broberg. Now Holloway has it. Edmonton dumps it in onto Stolars. So he's going to glove it out of the air, right in the breadbasket. We're going to head for our first TV timeout because we got to drag out this crap longer.
That's right.
Rather than just putting everybody out of their freaking misery and packing it up and buying the plane tickets and fueling the jet up to go to Florida, go to Sunrise. The land of beaches and babes and tequila. And hopefully a Stanley Cup on Tuesday night if you're the Florida Panthers. So, I mean, I don't mind so much. Oh, excuse me. I don't mind so much Florida losing this game. I don't like the way they're losing it, although I don't think it's the end of the world for them because it will be good for them as a team. To just help show that, hey, Edmonton's not just going to lay down for us. We actually got to try here, boys.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, oh, man. So, to shoot off topic here a little bit from the Stanley Cup playoffs, how do you feel about your old Grand Rapids Griffins there, Andrew?
Oh, man. Yeah, no, shoot.
I mean, they lost to the Milwaukee Admirals, right? In the second round or in the semifinals or quarterfinals, rather.
Yeah, quarterfinals. Yeah, it's a best-of-5 series in the quarterfinals, and they lost in 5 games. Yeah, it's a best-of-5 series, and they lost in the 5th game. The 5th game was at Milwaukee Panther Arena in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and yeah, we lost 2-0. Oh my gosh! Like, come on, really? Like, I know we're on the road, but seriously.
And he was getting ready to throw hands after seeing that crap. He was pissed.
Yeah.
He's coming home. Yeah. Fire everyone. No.
At least I'm looking forward to seeing Nate Danielson on that Griffins team next year. So I hope we can make another deep playoff run because during the pandemic and COVID and whatnot, we were by all means not a playoff team. So I'm glad to see our boys back in that mix again.
Well,
and Chicago down at the bottom of the list.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at it, AHL teams are a lot more fickle than NHL teams because they're all reliant basically on what their AHL affiliate is or NHL affiliate is doing with their talent pool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of AHL teams are good when NHL teams suck. You know, or have been sucking for a few years because then they have a lot of talent that's making their way up from being drafted, getting used to playing, if they're from Europe, getting used to playing the American style of the game and stuff like that. Then the AHL team will be really good as Darnell Nurse is going to go to the sin bin for a couple minutes for cross-checking. But then once teams get good in the NHL, it's hard for the AHL teams to get good because then for NHL teams to stay good, they got to start trading away their prospects. And, well, guess who the prospects usually play for? The AHL affiliates. So, I think if you're a Grand Rapids Griffins fan, you're in a really good spot because Detroit's got a lot of prospects coming up. A lot of prospects coming up coming up the ladder.
Oh, yeah.
And we are in no hurry to be trading away any prospects right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
So for Florida here, they're going to be on a power play. As I said, that Darnell Nurse is going to is in the box for 2 minutes for cross-checking. So let's see if Florida can at least save face and, I don't know, put another one on the board at least. So you aren't completely embarrassed. So as Reinhardt's going to skate it over the line, dish it over to Barkov, who's going to lose it. Kachuk's going to pick it up before it was iced all the way down. He's going to dump it in. Skinner stops it behind the Edmonton net. Reinhardt's got it now. Gives it to Kachuk, who tried to fast pass it up to the point. But that was cut off as Connor Brown, who was a crucial part of the shorthanded goal in the first period, took a shot, but that was blockered away by Stolars. As Montour has it now. But he had his pocket picked. Edmonton's able to dump it. As Sam Bennett comes away with it. He skates it over the line, over both sets of lines, dishes it over to Lundell. Lundell off the boards to Ekman-Larsson, who gives it back to him. And the pass to, I believe, Rodriguez in the middle was cut off, or blocked rather. So Edmonton was able to get it out. So this has been a waste of 2 minutes for everybody involved, as Florida has not done a dang thing on this power play besides waste 2 minutes. There's 15 seconds left in the power play as Edmonton's able to backhand it out of the zone, and that's pretty much going to kill off the rest of the power play here. So once again, Edmonton's power play is absolutely cruising to like a 96% kill percentage. As Florida's trying to do something with it along the boards. But they lose it, and Draisaitl comes away with it. He's got help from Henrique. And the pass to Henrique was a little bit behind him. As we get a penalty coming up, I think, to Florida. As the path to the penalty boxes are getting worn out in this period so far. As Ekblad's going to go to the sin bin for a 2-minute water break or less for slashing, and he didn't argue with it very much, so it must have been a true slash because he didn't give the referee much lip.
Exactly, yeah. Well, especially in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and you're not going to hear the players say, "Hey, good call, ref."
Yeah, but that was pretty obvious as Ekblad just slashed Janmark's stick out of his hand for no reason. So 10:44 left in regulation, 10:44 left in the misery for Florida fans, and 10:44 until we can go to bed.
That's right.
As Edmonton's now on the power play to see if they can improve their percentages at all, as they are 1 for 4 tonight, as their first power play goal came courtesy of Nugent Hopkins, which was the last goal scored in this game so far. That was assisted from Draisaitl and McDavid. They actually initially gave it to Nugent Hopkins as unassisted. Then they gave it to Zach Hyman from Draisaitl and McDavid. But me and you both said that, no, it's pretty obvious that Nugent Hopkins put it in, and they've now corrected it to Nugent Hopkins. So as Bouchard starts with it behind his net, and the first 40 seconds are gone in this power play for Edmonton, as Draisaitl dumps it down after getting a pass from McDavid. But Steenland's able to ice it for Florida. And Skinner's not able to play it as it bounced just right off the boards in the corner to where it was outside of the Marty Brodeur trapezoid. So he couldn't play the puck unless he wanted to get a delay of game penalty.
That's right.
A rule that is totally pointless in the NHL now is that shot from the point is tipped by Foegele. And Stolarz was all over it to keep that one out of the net to at least, keep Florida out of complete embarrassment. That was a pretty good play there. I think Ekholm was the one who shot that. No, Darnell Nurse was the one who shot that, rather. And Foegele was all alone in front, and it was a good tip, and it went off the right pad of Stolarz. And then he tried to bang home the rebound, but then he just lost sight of it, and Stolarz was able to get a glove on it. As Mikkola is able to push it out for Florida. In fact, he's going to keep going, but Darnell Nurse was able to poke it away, so he didn't go on a breakaway. Mikkola, that is. As it's wrapped around the boards by Florida, unable to get out as Corey Perry stopped it, as McLeod's got it. Gives it to Foegele, who gives it down to Corey Perry. Perry up to Nurse, over to Ekholm, who gives it to Perry off the sideboards, to Nurse, to McLeod, down to Perry, back up to the point to McLeod, over to Ekholm, but that was blocked away. But that shot, another secondary shot from Ekholm, that was blocked as Luostarinen comes away with it for Florida. He skates over the line, and he still has it as he was being hounded by Ekholm, who was back-checking. Ekblad centered it to Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett still with it. Luostarinen with a shot that goes wide. And Verhaeghe was able to keep it in the zone after coming off the bench. Montour with it. Gives it to Ekman Larsson, who gives it back. Montour with it now again. Walks in front. Gives it to Bennett. Big shot and another save by Skinner by Tkachuk. Bennett with it now backhanded. Then his stick just blows up on him as we get another penalty.
Wow.
I think Corey Perry's going to go for slashing as a shot from Bennett in the low to mid slot. I think was either Skinner got or was blocked, and then they went over to Tkachuk. Yes, it is Corey Perry who's going to the sin bin. Let's see here. Yeah, I think Skinner just got a piece of that with his arm, and then it went above the net. Let's see here. Bennett had kind of quasi shot it, but right as he shot it, Corey Perry came in and slashed him, and while it's pretty obvious to call the slash when you break the guy's stick.
Yeah.
So
good. Go get a new twig.
Yeah, good save, unbelievable save by Skinner. He just kind of threw his arm out there, and it just went off his arm on a shot from Tkachuk and went over top the net. So some good stuff here from the Edmonton netminder, who's been absolutely stellar this whole game. Like I said earlier, that first goal I would not blame on him at all. I mean, that was a tipped right in front of him. That goaltender's got no chance. But I mean, if you take just that one out of there, I mean, Skinner's been lights out solid.
That's right. Standing on his head, as we like to call it.
That's right. So 8:08 left in the third period. Left in this game. I'm pretty confident that I can say that. As Florida's going to go to the power play, as Corey Perry goes to the sin bin for a couple-minute nap or less for slashing as he broke the stick of Sam Bennett. So once again, Florida can try and either try something new on the power play or just see if they can get anything to work, because the last power play was a waste of 2 minutes. Nothing happened besides nothing was going on but the rent. So like here on the NHL's website that I have on my MacBook that I can look for like stats or if like for goals, if they change the goals, who scored or whatever. And it says here you can get a game summary. What's the game's over? I can tell you a game summary. Florida's ass whooped. That's what happened.
That's the headline.
That's the headline. That's the only line. They got cooked. That's what happened. They wanted all the smoke, and they got all the smoke. So Verhaeghe has it now for Florida. There's a shot that's saved by Skinner as Barkov gives it to Tkachuk. Tkachuk throws it in front of Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe, good save by Skinner on a backhand play by Verhaeghe. As Montour is able to keep it in over to Reinhart, who gives it to Verhaeghe. Back to Reinhart to Barkov. Tkachuk now has it, gives it to Montour, to Barkov, to Tkachuk, as Verhaeghe was coming in from the point. As Tkachuk has it again in the corner, looking for Montour across the far side. That was blocked away by Nurse, or by Draisaitl, rather. Barkov shoves it over to Montour, but it was behind him, so he wasn't able to keep it in. And he was being hounded by Draisaitl. Or Connor Brown, rather. Damn, 28s and 29s look too similar. As Ekholm has it now, and he's just killing time as he throws it over to Broberg before he ices it down. Ekman Larson picks it up for Florida, gives it to Rodriguez. Over to Bennett, to Tarasenko, to Ekman Larson, to Lundell. There's a shot that's blocked by Ekholm. Ekman Larson has it again. Gives it to Tarasenko over to Bennett. Bennett with a shot that's saved by Skinner. And Ekman Larson now has it as Edmonton's able to kill off that penalty kill successfully. As the puck is now behind the Edmonton net as they're fighting for it. It was a gaggle about 5 players, but Edmonton's able to come away with it. As Corey Perry gives it to McDavid, who shoves it in front to Holloway, who scores. So, once again, a beautiful play by Edmonton, and especially McDavid, who now sets the NHL record for the most assists in a single postseason at 32.
Jeez.
And it's now 7-1 Edmonton. So, but this was a good play here. So Corey Perry has it. He's got McDavid with him. He gives it over to McDavid, who gives it right to Holloway, who's just screaming in on the left side. And, I mean...
You want to talk about a defensive hiccup.
Yeah, well, this whole game for Florida has been a defensive hiccup.
It has.
So, I mean, this is just, this is standard procedure for Florida this game. As Edmonton continues the total dominance of this game. As Mikkola picks it up for Florida behind his own net. Passes it up to Lorentz, rather. Oposo couldn't quite get a handle on it as Holloway gives it over to Draisaitl, who backhanded it to Sosisi. Could pick it up, but he couldn't. And a shot from Lorentz is blocked away. As Forsling coming in off the bench is unable to really dump it deep into the zone.
Meanwhile, the crowd's going nuts.
Yeah, as we have less than 5 minutes in this game left. As Corey Perry is able to keep it in for Edmonton, and Lundell is able to backhand it out of the zone for Florida, as it's picked up by Bouchard. Gives it over to Ekholm. Ekholm skates it over the red line and dumps it in. Off the backboards. But Florida's able to come away with it as Lostarinen's got it. Gives it to Lundell, who wasn't quite able to lumberjack it, or he was able to lumberjack it, rather, into the zone. As Bouchard just sits behind the Edmonton net, totally content with just killing time off the clock. As that icing is going to be negated as Connor Brown was coming in with a head of steam. But he had no help as Montour now has it for Florida, and he's going to dump it in around the boards for Barkov. Ekman-Larsson keeps it in, but then Edmonton's able to poke it out. Ekman-Larsson with it again. Gives it over to Forsling, his defensive partner. To Kachuk, who's going to backhand it into the zone to Sam Bennett, who whiffs on the shot. Being hounded by Broberg. And Edmonton comes out with it again. It's a 2-on-1 here with Foegele over to, I don't even know who that was. Another shot and they score. Ryan McLeod on a broken play is able to rifle one home. 8-1 Edmonton. So the little scoring that Edmonton has done in the first 3 games, they sure as hell are making it up for it in this one.
Yep.
As Foegele was the one who brought it in the zone, I don't know who he had as help, but the initial shot was blocked, but then McLeod came in all alone. That was Holloway who was with Foegele. McLeod just came in and shot an absolute piss missile into the top left corner over Stolarz' left shoulder.
He should have had that.
Yeah. I mean, that shot had some serious gas on it. So, that is an unassisted. They are going to give Holloway the assist on that one. I don't necessarily think I agree with that. Considering Holloway shot it and it was blocked. But it's going to be Ryan McLeod from Dylan Holloway. McLeod's third of the postseason. Holloway's second assist is Kyle Oposo is going to go to the sin bin for Florida with 3:01 left in the third period. Well, I should say 3:01 left in this game. I don't think Florida's going to score 7 in less than 3 minutes. I'm pretty confident. I think you could take that one to the bank. I don't think it's going to happen. So, but like we said, winning the 4th game in a sweep is the most difficult game you will ever have to win in your life.
Yeah.
And Edmonton's proven that one right now as they have taken Florida to the cleaners in every stat in the book. So, since I feel like we can wrap this up pretty quick after this game ends, do you want to give out your final report cards for the game, Andy?
Yeah, the grades stay the same.
Yeah.
All right, that's it.
An A+ for Edmonton and an F triple- for Florida.
Keep it stupid, simple.
Yeah, I think Florida should get the honorary Z-. That's how bad this game has been for them.
That's right. Bottom of the alphabet.
That's right. No, you get the Omega-. You're not even in the English alphabet.
Yeah.
We got to take your ass to the Latin one.
That's right.
I mean, if you just look at the shot totals, you would think this is a pretty close game. Edmonton's got 34 and Florida's got 33, they say. So you look at that and you're like, oh, it's a pretty close game. But then you look at the rest of the stats. Face-offs are a lot closer now. It's 51.7 to Florida's 48.3. Edmonton's the only one that's been able to score on the power play. They're going to go on another one here. Florida's got Edmonton in hits, 46-33. But Edmonton's got Florida in block shots, 23-16. And they've got them in takeaways, 14-7. So, I mean, other than the 18 giveaways they've said Edmonton's had compared to Florida's 9, I mean, in every crucial stat to win in hockey games, Edmonton's got them beat. And I don't mean just beat. They've got them beat. As a shot from Nurse is saved by Stolars. 2:45 left in the game. $1.44 left in the power play. As the old Oilers faithful have definitely been treated to what they've come to, what they definitely expected. The kind of hockey they expected in this in this postseason, in these finals from their NHL team. As the power play looks a little different. In fact, I don't even think, the Oilers aren't even running a power play unit. They're just running the normal guys, which I agree. You don't need to run their power play unit when you're up 8-1.
Yeah.
It would be kind of a dick move. So they're just kind of rolling lines, and they've mixed it up a little bit as Darnell Nurse is out there with Matthias Ekholm. And Nurse is going to just go behind his net and just be more than content with just killing time. As we got 2:12, boiling temperature point left in the third period here. As Corey Perry's able to take it away from Ekblad. Gives it out to Nurse at the point, whose shot goes wide in the net. Ekholm threw it in front, but that was caught by Florida, and they were able to ice it. And Nurse just kind of mosey on backs, slowly killing time. Just letting everybody just do figure skating out here. We're just going to kill some more time. As he gives it up to Connor Brown, who had Lorentz on him, and was able to hound him enough for another Florida defenseman to ice it. It's picked up by Brett Kulak, who skates it up, gives it to Connor Brown, who's able to dump it into the Florida zone. And Florida's able to ice it, and Stuart Skinner stops it from going in the corner, and Brett Kulak picks it up again, and Florida successfully kills the penalty off, although I don't know how much Edmonton was actually trying, and I can tell you how much Edmonton was actually trying. 0.
That's right.
Connor Brown takes a shot, goes wide of the net. Holloway shoves it back down into the corner as we have 43 seconds left in the third period. 40 seconds left before Florida can go back to Sunrise. As that puck is tipped into the Edmonton zone, so no icing. Edmonton's just going to lob it out of the zone, and they're going to wave it off, which I agree. Linesman wants to go home. This is a shit show of a game. I put as a joke that during the countdown period, the shit show will commence in ... I did it as a joke. I didn't think it was actually going to be true.
Me neither.
As the Edmonton Oilers have whooped the Florida Panthers in a must-win game, 8-1, to live another day, as Game 5 will be Tuesday night at 8 p.m. in Sunrise, Florida. The situation is the same. Edmonton's got to win if they want to see Lord Stanley's Cup, and Florida has to win if they want to see Lord Stanley's Cup.
That's right.
The difference is Edmonton's at least gonna see is at least on their way. They're gonna have a little bit of momentum with them rolling into Sunrise. So to quickly wrap this up, for Andy and me, this has been the Functional Idiots broadcast of Game 4, though it wasn't much of a game, of the Stanley Cup Finals. Edmonton blanking Florida 8-1. Make sure you catch the Functional Idiots podcast anywhere where you download your podcast. You can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Functional Idiots Productions, where you can get the Not Until 4 Patreon podcast there. But until next time, don't be dumb. Have a good night, everyone. What the hell was that?
I liked how TV put right at the end there. That was